Yeah. Yeah. Welcome everybody uh to this week's episode of Save or Slay, the fall season. And that's right, baby. It only took one episode and we've replaced Dodge with Power. Look, it's so quick. We decided we wanted to talk about Chainsaw Man so much that we would get rid of him and put in a character from it instead. Um, Real talk, John works couldn't really. We had a little bit of a fumble on the schedule. Um, Really, what happened was last night he was going to bail on us to go watch One Piece Red, which like fair, but also come on now. And then we decided to do today anyway because it was better for the rest of us. Um, and so here we are. Uh, yeah, but so instead, enjoy Power. We're gonna have her with us for most of the stream today. She's literally on every one of the different ones. It's great. It really this was great because it meant that I could use this GIF from Chainsaw Man episode 4 while also using a different GIF from Chainsaw Man episode 4 for the actual episode. Which I'm very happy about. But yeah, welcome. If you do not know what we do here, this is episode 2. And this episode, we're gonna be talking about episode 4s of all the shows we watch. Last week, My Master Has No Tail got the boot. And we're gonna see. I wonder what it will be this week. It's the world's biggest surprise, I'm sure. Unless we decide to get a little funky with it. Uh, but the general consensus is we started the season with 12 shows. We're now down to 11. We've watched, as I said, up to episode 4 of all of the shows. And this week we're going to talk about those episodes, and we're going to decide what we think the worst show of the week is currently, and if that has the most slays of the season, it's going to get the boot at the end. Harsh language and spoilers abound. Please keep in mind that if you spoil past the episode we are in, you're gonna get moderated out of here. We do not need to know what happens in episode 5 or 6 of some of the shows that have those episodes out. Please don't spoil things that are from like the manga for Chainsaw Man. The three of us will know. It just means that
Yes.
John can't enjoy the chat. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Outside of that, I think that's really it. I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. I don't have anything particularly interesting to talk about what I've been up. You know what? No, Mason, talk about your weekend. You and John went
Yeah.
somewhere this past weekend and last
So
week, kind of as a
so
whole.
so John and I were at Youmacon this past weekend. I work there. It's fun. Um, I realized something yesterday while doing it, and my girlfriend kind of hates me about it because I didn't realize until we were talking about the con and like something came up and it happened. Um, I didn't realize this as it was happening, but I served drinks to Jiraiya's voice actor this weekend.
Yo.
That was cool. He's nice. Um, but aside from that, Youmacon was fun. It was nice because I got to hang out with John's group of friends and meet all of them. It was nice. They're all good people. Um, Aside from that, like Youmacon is always just like it's a staple for me. I've been going to it 13 years now. Yeah, 13. Aside from COVID times and like those 2 years being blocked out, but like um yeah, I've been going to Yoma for since 2009, so it's an every year thing for me. But um aside from that, in terms of things that have been going on, Sean and I watched another or most of another.
We have to
We
finish
haven't
the
quite
last
finished it
three, four
yet.
episodes.
Three, because we got 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
So we got that. Sean and I also, this has been a while now, but Sean and I have watched up through like the first 3 episodes of volume 6 of Ruby. So we watched another 2.5 volumes basically.
Yep.
Um, and then aside from that, um, not a whole lot. Just playing TFT and have anime stuff going on, and then I'm going to Miami tomorrow. So
Be safe,
yeah,
please. Don't die.
I'm gonna
Please don't
try.
die.
There is
Everyone
a hurricane coming.
be safe if you're in the Florida, that area that is constantly always in danger. I know you're used to it, but be safe.
Right.
Yeah. No, but yeah, like Mason said, some Ruby progress, which means that we just got the biggest batch of lore that show's gonna give us. And we're about to get to a set of episodes that are arguably some of Michael and my favorites. At least it has both of our favorite Grimm in it, which says something because some of the Grimm designs are really cool.
Yeah.
But Mason, you pointed out at the start of this season when they're doing the train fight with the Griffins, that the
Grimm
Grimm
are,
design is really good post like Volume 3.
volume 3, I would say, because
Yeah, even then the Wyvern's really cool in Volume 3.
Yeah, but like the big one for me so far was the I don't remember its name, but the one that's at the end of volume 4.
The
I want to
Nukkaleaf?
say,
yeah, Nukkalavi.
Nukkalavi, whatever it is.
the Nukkalavi.
Yeah.
But
I forgot how fucking terrifying that thing was.
Yeah,
when he got with the one, I was like, "Holy fuck!" I do not remember it looking like this.
Yeah, that is like actually pants-shitting terror-inducing.
Yeah. But yeah, no. There's some good stuff in store for us. And I'm really excited to get back to that. But we've had to put some stuff on hold. In that same right, Michael and I have to get back to Ghost Game at some point.
We'll eventually watch Terror in Residence.
But the day I die will be the day that this podcast gets to watch Terror in Residence, apparently.
Right.
No, we'll get to it. It was an unfortunate set of events that put it on a delay, but that just means we'll get to watch it around the holiday. Definitely no problems with that. Is John the only one who's seen Film Red?
Yes.
No.
Oh,
I have seen Film Red.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
You can't talk much about it to me.
No, I can't say much.
And I'm sure Mason wants to see it and not be spoiled on it, but
it do be a good movie.
Okay.
It's still a non-canon, silly little One Piece movie. Same vein as something like Film Z, Film Gold, blah blah blah.
Stampede.
Yeah. Significantly less pandery than Stampede is. Stampede is just a big ball of fan service. That's that entire movie shtick. They're significantly less. There's still a giant cast of characters, such as was gonna happen when the entire plot focuses around going to a fucking concert.
Mm-hmm.
The story's not great. It's a fucking One Piece movie. But it's still a really pretty movie. The fight scenes are great. You get some really good bits. It's a good time, and the one thing I will leave you with is Beppo, my beloved.
Oh boy,
I love Beppo so much. I love him. I love him. Beppo is so good.
I would say, I think out of all of the One Piece movies, there's only one that I can think of that actually has a decent plot, and it's Baron Matsuri in the Clockwork Island, I believe.
Yeah, like movie 6 or whatever.
Yeah,
the one
6.
that everyone considers really good.
Yeah, that's
that random one. Everyone's like, yeah, this movie's actually a really good fucking horror story for no reason.
Yeah,
it's
really
always one of those movies
reason.
in Big Shonen of where you're like, oh man, you don't really need to watch any of the Big Shonen movies. Looking at you, Dragon Ball and Naruto and all the other Big Shonen under the sun, and then occasionally there's one that you're like, no, this one's really good actually. You should probably watch it.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball Super movies have all been pretty solid.
Hey, World's Strongest is a good movie.
The Z ones are fine.
Yeah, Brawly's a. As long as you don't dislike the first original Brawly isn't that bad, but Brawly himself is kind of the problem with that film.
Yeah. Broly is a character, and Bio Broly is certainly a movie that happened after the fact.
Talk about Bio Broly.
We don't talk about Bio Broly.
But yeah, I don't know, Michael, do you have anything big? I know the only kind of things I've been doing are D&D, and then I've been playing a lot of Digimon World Championship DS, which I'm actually I finally found a good guide on the parameters of which Digimon need to evolve in that game, that has basically let me get to the point where I'm just cycling through the most powerful forms of Digimon and hoping that they will line up for my championship fight, which happens once every 4 years in that game. It's only a 4-month calendar because they do one for each season, but oh boy, and it's only like 8 days in a month, but it still is time you have to cycle through to get through 4 years worth of it, and it's like, uh-oh. And I basically have almost done almost every other combat-based, like, challenge in the game, besides a couple ones that are really specific, where it's like, hello, you need a vegetation Digimon. Do you have a vegetation Digimon? No? Oh well. And a couple of the ones that don't tell you what you need, where they're like, this Digimon that appeared in the middle of the series, and you're like, what does that mean? What is the time frame for that? Because it's not what you think it is.
So when did this game come out? Okay, at that point,
post data squad, but so that would make me think that things around End of O2 Tamers are what you need. I don't know. It's hard to say sometimes. There's also some really funny Digimon evolution paths where you're like, this should turn into this thing, but apparently we just don't have it. Like, I don't think any of Renamon's end forms, like, I don't think like anything past the champion form is in that game, which means they have to pull other things that fit. It's very, very silly. But I like that game. It's fun. It's just like it's like an animal training sim to a degree. Like, you feed them, you clean up after them, you drop them into maps. You drop them into a cage that is entirely a lava mountain to raise their dragon. Lots of that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but I've been doing mostly that. D&D's been interesting. Michael and I stumbled upon a subplot in our last D&D session we did, both as players, where we stumbled upon a basset hound that was following our party, because apparently it recognized the smell of our one party member, to which then we got no clarification on what that meant. And then maybe found out that the wizard who the basset hounds are familiar of, is lying to us about her mother's name, and also her mother doesn't look old enough or enough like her to be her mom. We can't deal with that right now because we're currently tracking down assassins. It was the most completely, to our knowledge, unrelated plot point we could have stumbled into in that session. And we spent like 45 minutes on it.
Yeah. We just kind of sat there. We were like, oh, this is weird that we noticed this thing. And now it just seems to be leading to nothing, maybe? What?
Oh, we don't know. We have, like, one good lead. And then like, if that lead turns into nothing, we have to go elsewhere because, like, we're done in this city. So, it'll be fun to see. Anything for you, Michael?
Because we didn't talk last week, and I don't think this was out before we finished last season, Overwatch 2 is a game that happened.
Yeah,
I download it.
I think you talked...
I played a lot of that the first 2 weeks of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you talked about it when we were picking shows briefly, but...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2 is certainly a time. I think it's fun.
Michael likes the 5v5 format.
But boy, is there zero incentive to play the game. I finished the Battle Pass. I actually get nothing from playing the game right now. Not like I got shit from doing the Battle Pass anyway. I got 2 skins that I won't use because they were bad epic skins. Yippee.
Cool.
Oh boy, I can do my weekly challenges and get 60 cents worth of currency.
Oh boy.
Yippee.
Oh boy.
Boy, is the monetization model in this game just feel terrible after what we had in Overwatch 1. I understand going free to play and stuff, you have to change the model. But God, doesn't feel like everything's so expensive.
Yeah.
Especially for the fact that, like, I understand that it's built to feel like the Valorant model, where like a good gun skin in Valorant's like $17, $18. A legendary Overwatch skin is $19. Which is insane because I got Overwatch 1 in 2020, I believe it was, or like 2019 or whatever, for $20. I'm not spending $19 for a single character's legendary skin when I put $20 on the game.
Oh, how nice of you. I spent $60 on it twice.
Well,
I spent
That's on
40
you.
on it.
But yeah,
Look, it happened that I was convinced by a group of friends that I should get it for PC to play with them, and then none of us played it. That was indeed my bad. Much different to Monster Hunter World, where I spent $60 plus 30 for or however much Iceborne was twice, and did get enough mileage out of both of those.
yeah, but you've actually played both. Yeah,
I haven't played the PC as much as I wanted to, but
I feel you on the first one because like there was a point where me and some friends were planning on playing Elder Scrolls Online, and I bought it, and then no one else bought.
Yeah,
no.
see, my online friends very much pick up a game, play it for a week, beat it, and then put it down. And I don't have the time, or I didn't at the time have the time to hop in and play a game for a week, beat it, and then drop it. So a lot of the times
that's actually what they did with Among Us too.
Yeah.
But they did that 9 months before the game became popular.
Yeah, it's crazy. They are an enigma. They're a bunch of enigmas.
God, I remember back when Among Us, you paid $5 for it and you got just the first map. The other two were paid DLC.
You guys aren't ready for this, viewers. But would you believe if I told you that Among Us is a perfect segue for this week's episode of Save or Slay? Bam!
True.
We don't gotta worry about it yet, but we'll get there. We'll stay tuned to figure out what we mean by that. Trust me, it'll be a while.
Did you take the screenshot that I spoiled?
It's the only thing that.
True.
We'll talk about it.
God, I fucking hate Among Us. It's bad.
So
out of my head.
Reminder, harsh language, spoilers abound. Episode 4 is for all the shows we're talking about. And first up on the docket, John would normally be leading us for this conversation, but again, not here. So we all just get to talk about Blue Lock this week. And appropriately, we got a power ranking. Ignore the fact that John, there isn't one because he's gonna get it to me. He better, or else Dad is gonna get screwed up. But yeah, Blue Lock this week. Big drop from all three of us. Significantly me, who had it in first last week. Which, right call on my part, I think, because yeah, it's gonna be a bit before this gets back up there. Because, oh boy, I like Blue Lock. It's still very pretty when it does. It's still very pretty. That stays, and its OST is still really good. It's just only interesting when soccer happens. And I guess we can do the little rundown of this
soccer
week.
Happened.
Yeah, well, firstly...
Soccer did happen.
Firstly, we get some locker talk. We get the boys talking. Ichigo, shares a little bit of a stake with our main boy, because he helped get him that goal, and he earned some extra points for it, which let him buy a stake. And so he shared it with him. They have a little bit of conversation about why they play soccer, because our main character still doesn't know what his, skill is at soccer, because all the forwards are talking about what they're good at, and they're all a bunch of dinguses and have the worst explanations of what they're good at ever. I use my head really well.
Physical.
I get to the ball. Well, I sure hope you do. You're a striker.
Yes.
I have a good... What is the dude who's the only one who's lower ranked than our main character? What was his?
It's like his never give up attitude.
Yeah, I have a can-do attitude. It's like, you shut up and get out of here.
Sure. Anyway.
And then why are you still here?
And then we have Redhead, who's like, I refuse to tell you. And we're like, cool. I guess you're sticking around then.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find out eventually.
It is fun to look at the show on Mal and look at the character list and see, he's labeled as a main character.
Yeah. The people who are labeled...
You can tell which of this group is important, and also... Sure. These numbers make sense, I swear.
I mean, to be fair, the 4 who are listed are the ones who check the most right now, which is...
Yeah, my issue with that is, that means they have to win.
But Mason and I were talking about this, so let's get into the game a bit.
Unless they do the shit we were talking about last week, where they switch what teams people are on before the final games.
So yeah, Mason and I were saying I like Mason's idea of maybe we're not gonna get a switch before the final ranking, but in between these 2 games and the next 2 games, they're gonna switch around, and it'll be interesting to see if they do that, what happens. I don't know. I still feel like it defeats the purpose of the round robin, and it's not like I think that the team can't win this game. I think they can. They just need to kind of get their heads out of their asses, 80% of them. The only ones who actually seem to know what they're doing are Yoichi, Bachira, Kunigami somewhat, but Kunigami's Ichigo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And or
I don't know
Redhead who
any
doesn't
of their
do
names
anything.
aside from Bachira. I'm not gonna lie. It's Ichigo, Captain, Bachira, and main character.
We have our sick dude who, once again, kind of looks like a pedal character. He's one of the other ones who looks like a pedal character who, takes the entire goalpost to his ribs today.
Yes.
On episode 4.
And just gets up and goes, "Okay, let's go."
Like,
good
another.
Good pass.
I saw, like, I was watching this with Sean, and I was just like, this man's gonna fucking kill himself playing soccer. Like, he's gonna just take a goalpost to the head at one point and just have brain bleed and die.
For what it's worth, the actual soccer bit of this episode is really good. I like the two main center focuses on the other team. I think they're both really cool. This dude's fucking eye thing is the dumbest thing on the planet. But yeah, this would maybe feel, our main character would probably feel a little better here in Blue Lock if we hadn't just watched Awashi. Because this is just what Aoi does, but you have more time to grow onto it. Like, you spend the first 3 episodes getting to know Aoi to care about him, as you're gonna have to follow him.
So I think it's done better in Awashi, where it gives you, like, the full, like, bird's eye view, and how he interacts with it, as opposed to just, I see it.
We also don't really know exactly how it works yet for our main character here. It could wind up being different, but it really just is he senses something is wrong and
this man has a Sharingan.
There's a disturbance in the force. I still love this show's visuals. Anytime they do any cool background behind a character, it looks sick. Anytime they do the white and black, it's rad as hell. Everybody's just got a monster inside them. This show has to get sponsored by Monster Energy at some point in time. I will refuse to believe that could not happen. But yeah, there are definitely some elements of this episode that are slow and not as engaging. Plus, the match doesn't end this episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
We get, what, halfway through? Or just a little
over halfway?
It's a little past half. A little past half.
Which I don't have any problem with the show doing, like, end of a game into the start of the next one. At least it's moving at a good speed. It's just that, like, you have to come off with something interesting for your build-up, and then also have an interesting game. And right now, I think one of my biggest problems with it is I don't care about half the team. And I just, like, the dude who has his random high school fantasy about how soccer is like romance, I could literally care less about. Yeah. Shouts
this
to the
show's
homie
like, I don't dislike most of what we get this episode. Like, I think the gimmick of the other team being that they have this super big mastermind who's behind all of their plays is neat. That's like a neat thing they have to get over. But I think the idea that every game is just, we need to get over this single obstacle, and boom, here we go. We have our answer. Especially when that's not the big obstacle in this game, in my opinion. The big obstacle is that their team has no fucking clue how tactics works. It's almost like turning your entire play around one character, or a single player, certainly just lets the other team know exactly how to stop it, especially when you're super open about saying what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. I don't think we actually verbally talked. I think I mentioned it while we were watching it. But there is a moment where, in the locker room, the guy who's acting as, like, team captain is like, "We'll be fine. We'll trip them up yet. It might not have been working, but since we are trying so many different things, they won't be ready for it." It's like, okay, if they were ready for the first 3 and then stop the next, like, 2, they're not gonna get caught off by the last 5. Like, clearly the technique isn't working.
They even said before they got into the locker room that they've done their research on these guys.
Yeah.
Like they've done the research on Team Z, so it's like, how are you going to trip them up when they know what fucking tactic you're about to use?
Also, it's not like any of you are insanely... Like, the reason Batra almost works, is because he's an out-there player, right? And, like, it's the same reason why the header actually works. Or, he actually might not head it, he might actually just kick the ball.
He chins it in.
He chins it, yeah.
Whatever the fuck stupid ass shit he does.
Yeah,
When
but the
he
reason
slams
that works
himself
is
into the
because
goalpost.
you can't predict that out of, like, a striker. Everyone else is just trying to kick the ball really hard at the goal. It's like, yeah, no.
Shinobi certainly, his strategy is kick the ball super hard, and if you just put people in the way, the ball's not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
There's definitely some interesting stuff here, though, and I'm excited to see what it does. It's just, other things were continually or just amped up with their shit a lot this week. Enough that I was like, Blue Lock can just kind of dip down to the middle of the pack. It's fine. It'll bounce around. I'm not worried about it yet.
Yeah, it's very much not like in contention to be going at all. It's just that other things I think certainly did better, and this episode kind of was just an episode that happened.
It is interesting to see, knowing that this is here, going forward, because it keeps you kind of like it makes you aware that okay, this show might not have a locked in spot. Which is something that, going into the season was, what's potentially locked in. Chainsaw Man, is it not? John's a big component of that. I'm upset we don't have him here this week because it's the most important part of the conversation is how he feels. But there is another show that I think, at least amongst the three of us, has certainly declared itself potential lock material for this season. God damn it, John.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Before that, hey, Michael.
Hi.
Akiba.
This episode, in my opinion, was like almost good for like 15 minutes.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on this.
Yeah, I think for the first like 10, it's kind of just like whatever. But then we get the bit where Ronko and the Gyaru have like that actual personal conversation. I was like, okay, this is some good shit here. Like, there's something here. Yeah. And then we have the thing where she changes her hair. I was like, okay, maybe we have something here. And then at the end of the episode, as if nothing fucking happened.
Yeah.
It was actually 20 minutes of nothing. And I was like, you almost did something good here. Not like there was some fine comedy. This show's comedy is fine sometimes. You get some goofy ass shit.
We somewhat kind of had a bit of a plot thing because they mentioned that Ronko had been a maid before, like 15 years before.
Yeah, someone finally acknowledges
from
her.
The prologue.
Yeah, but they like acknowledge her finally that she was like ousted from the program and is back. Like someone recognizes her.
Oh no, she's fucking world famous for being good at fighting. It's like, okay, that's something there.
Yeah. There's a lot.
I thought adding the Russian one was. I thought adding the Russian person was going to add something to the group. No, it didn't.
So here's the problem.
She literally does nothing this episode.
You can't add a character and then have the immediate next episode be we're going to address some of the character quirks of your cast and also kind of go with like a semi-mind control-esque situation where it feels like the group becomes like just meshed into a routine to change who they are. You can't really run that bit with a character who we know nothing about in terms of the dynamic with the group. Because for what it's worth, I kind of like the training stuff and the recognizing some of the faults, and the only thing that seems to stick by the end of the episode is that our main character can write a little better on omelets.
Yeah, they're like everyone's slightly better at doing the actual maid stuff, but they're still running this place like a shit show.
Which is...
And it's like, damn.
There has to have been good, tangible stuff.
That was required.
I mean, he's not a panda, which we all kind of know.
We now know it's actually just a mascot.
Yeah, by far the most interesting thing in this show is that panda. That doesn't really do it a lot of good. But no, there's a lot of stuff here where it's like, oh, if like I had another episode before this and there was a clean narrative, I might care about like the dynamic of this. And I tuned into Mason. Mason started watching this episode. I left to go eat food, came back, and I was like, oh no, like I kind of knew what was going on at the end half, and I was like, I'm interested to see if it makes sense why the rest of the cafe is so determined to keep the drill master there. and this episode is so close to having legitimately good reasons for like our main character and our top maid for wanting to keep this going. Because like you could actually just be a maid, and she actually understands what the group's like finally by having it explained to her. Sure, she also gets like spooked into it because she's thrown off the building. Certainly not the most.
It gets the point across.
It gets the point across, and also traumatizes them and turns them into zombies. But it's like the show doesn't want to commit to any of the girls actually going, no, this is good for us. Like so they play up the whole zombified kind of like drilled routine. And trust me, I'm not someone who's gonna stand here and defend like military-esque training and breakdown of personality to get the ideal soldier. Like, no, yeah, I agree, that's all bad. Like, it's just it doesn't do enough with what it's doing, and I don't know why we did it.
The thing that got me, and I blocked it out of my memory, and then I remembered it.
How could you forget? The boing stick.
The Kyun stick. Why? Why did we have that? Like, it could have just been a paddle. I wouldn't have cared. Like, yeah, it's fucked up, but like, it at least tracks with like what's going on. But like, why do we have to fucking yassify it?
A paddle's not made enough.
Throw some fucking ears on it, and it will be.
True. It doesn't take ears on it. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, there are a couple of things in this episode that irk me. One, it continually reminds me that I hate the manager character, and honestly, the best thing that this episode does is them going, "No, you're bad.
Yeah,
you have to leave." They're like, "Please go."
The best this episode has is when the Gyaru opens the one window, opens up the vent, looks at the manager, and closes the vent. I'm like, it's amazing.
Very good.
Great fucking pizza.
That's the best joke this show is in the entire show.
But
that's
like
the best joke it's had.
The episode opens and it's like, oh, the manager, she's standing there with her tea and is the only one not in the main outfit. And it's like, oh, okay, like we're establishing some things about her. And they call her up and she just shoves the entire glass of tea or coffee into her pants. And you're like, right, I forgot you're a horribly written and designed bit for this show. I thought it was
funny that you put in that you just fucking dropped the tea into her pants. I thought that was a silly little bit.
My problem is this is all she is and has been for the 4 episodes. Is just a mess of a human being who does who will do the most like out there thing in every scenario, like completely strip naked to show penance when not asked to. And like the bits can get a chuckle out of me, but in the long run I still hate the manager.
Yes.
Also, when the drill sergeant comes in and gets greeted by our main character, and she does like the actual whole thing, and she looks at her, and the drill master just goes, "Well, why would you call your maid cafe a pigsty?" And it's like, no. This one's actually on you. She's right, and she's only been here like 2 weeks. They have a thing going. It's their theme. It might like
it's a pig cafe.
I get.
That's the bit.
Your problem.
Like, you should know this.
Your problem, drill master, is that you're allowing them to be the pig cafe. You should really get at that as opposed to getting at it being a bad. No, it's a perfectly tolerable line.
Yeah.
This show.
Also, it's weird how at the end, like it almost feels like the show wanted you to like feel something for the fact that the drill master is now going to be punished for all this bullshit.
No,
but like, I don't know. We're getting next episode.
I don't think she was a horrible.
Probably not going to be anything with that.
I don't think she's a horrible person. I think she's a victim of circumstance, like every other person involved in this mafia scheme.
Yes.
At least she doesn't get shot point blank dead by the end of this episode. She just gets. That
was a big twist. If this episode did not end with just everyone getting shot by Ronco.
It's okay. The next episode will open with a shot of this drill master dead in a body of water, so that we really understand the consequences of our actions that'll never change.
Something.
Yeah.
Manager gets off scot-free. Nope. But we're gonna see the manager also in some other scenario getting some terrible thing happen.
Last thing I'll say.
Manager had somehow lost all of the money again.
Yeah, again. Last thing I'll say is that I really thought that our top maid was going to have more of a reason to be emaciated at the end of the episode, and it really just is no. She did a good job and was told to make more money, so she decided to cut down on her beauty products, which there's a lot of that. A lot of the character motivation is like almost right, and then they just kind of throw it out the window and just go. Which is what happens when you try to finish every single episode arc in one episode and not have a narrative to the story. I don't know. I'm also still questioning who on earth this show was for and why, and like who thought it was a good idea to parody this genre with the maid genre. It is a
the
decision.
answer is apparently the entire fucking anime community. I don't know. People seem to think this show's really good.
I mean, I think
But
maybe
Uncle from Another World was good.
maybe
So,
I would
yeah,
like
I don't
this
trust
better.
Yeah, I've never trusted the community.
Maybe
the anime community. Fuck
Maybe
them.
I'd like this better if we weren't coming off
Exactly.
Licorice Recoil, which does this exact thing so much better. It is
Yeah,
a
the
seriously
general kind of
like
just-
amazing show.
But actually writes a story.
Yes.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy. It sure has competition this week somehow still too. But we'll talk about it. And even then though, I think that's maybe an argument we have to make. I'm excited to talk about it. Speaking of arguments, it's Gundam. That's right. This week's episode of Saber Slay, we have significantly less Mobile Suit Gundam. Instead, it's all MSGs, baby. I've gone through to abbreviate it everywhere as much as possible so that it doesn't take up 70 lines of space. This
Solid
week,
Gear.
more racism. So much racism that people are failing our humans and or girl Suletta at their exams. Firstly, fuck this school. Suletta gets in her mech to take her exam, and they go, "Excuse me, you don't have a team? What? Why don't you have a team yet? We have to fail you. Take a makeup exam." And it's like, she was just on trial to almost get expelled from your school. Has not been here besides to do two duels she's kind of been forced into by accident. And you're giving her shit for not having a team when she's also the only person from Mercury at this school. And it's pre-established that teams are kind of made from your groups you are sponsored by. But also it's Gundam, so this checks. There's some nice...
It's not fair. Welcome to Gundam.
Yeah. There's just some nice moments in this episode. I didn't think it was too much, like, in leagues better than its past couple episodes, and it's not as fight-heavy, obviously. In terms of Gundam fights, there is plenty of fighting in this episode of people kicking the shit out of each other. Which is great.
She's a boss-ass bitch.
Yeah, I still really like this episode. It does a lot, I think, for Suletta as a character and Choo-Choo. Boy oh boy, does seeing Choo-Choo talk on an iPad to her family back home on Earth very much make me feel like they're not going to live much longer past, like, 2 more episodes when the show decides to get serious.
I can virtually guarantee that based on how Gundam goes.
Yeah, they're all it's like, oh, look at all these nice people who are supportive of her. They're probably gonna die soon.
Oh, they're probably part of the, like, rebellion organization, and they will get absolutely murdered. I can guarantee that.
Shoutouts to our boy. I can't think of his name right now.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
Shouts to Well walking up to Suletta and going, "I actually don't like you," and then walking away, confusing everybody in the room.
Bro, what the fuck do you mean?
He's a tsundere, just like her other pink-haired character. All the tsunderes are here. I really like this cast. Choo-Choo isn't, like, my favorite character, but I also don't think she's supposed to be yet. I expect her to grow on me like everybody else. So, like, this is an episode that, like, certainly is the school episode that exists away from, like, almost every other political element of the show besides the whole Earthians versus Spacians. But I mean, we get some nice moments between our girls, and that's really all I can ask for. We know Suletta wants to be a teacher and start a school on Mercury. And then she cries. She really cries. What are your guys' thoughts on this week's episode of Gundam?
It's good.
Good episode.
This show's great. Like, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's probably, like, virtually guaranteed top 3. But
it's definitely going to be, like, in contention for top 3.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see a world where it's gone before top 4.
Yeah.
Probably.
And honestly,
let's do it yourself to some absolutely wild shit,
which we'll talk about.
But, like, I'm very ready because they're sowing the seeds of, yeah, school time is only going to be here for like maybe this season and maybe not even that.
Yeah. We might get lucky if we're not out of the school setting before the end of this podcast. Like, because I think like the episode 9-10 range is a perfect time slot to start moving out of that and into some serious shit.
Mm-hmm.
But also like we're getting stuff already. That it seems like they're building. So I'm interested.
Yes. I'm very excited. Again, as someone who has interacted with Gundam before, I'm excited to see like how they do the Gundam tropes.
Just like 86, you have to build out the cast.
Yes.
So
that way you can murder them and make people cry.
No, but Gundam good.
Yeah, no, the whole bit where she's trying to do the retake of the test and they're doing it over and over, that bit was great.
Yeah.
It was just
to slowly
good
gain
writing.
more time is really good. It's smart. It also, as much as you don't get a lot else from her in this episode, it is the moment you get a lot out of Minori. In like her, in her character. Because she's the one who keeps pushing Suletta to keep going, and there's not a single point where she slows down. She even gets out of her regular spot to go help her. Like, she's running everything for her. She knows she can do it. Like, which is a very sharp contrast to their conversation that night, where Suletta's like, I'm following my dream. This is what I want to do, and she's like, oh, good for you. Walks away.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's fucking when they get the final fail that we see, where she gets to the halfway point and fails, it's like, and Suletta just goes, I'm done, I don't want to continue this. Just not do it right now.
I've been there, and I know people who have been there, where like, even if Suletta like fully understood, because I don't know if she did fully understand why she had the blackout stuff on her machine. Like, I think she was a little bit like still not in the know about it until the end of the episode. But like even if you do know that you are actually being bullied and having people trying to stop you from accomplishing a simple test, like either way, that shit sucks. And at some point you do want to give up after so many fails of something like that. It's a good scene.
Yeah.
I also like all the people in the Earth House who are like, yo, you're kind of chill, and then Choo-Choo walks in and they're like, ah, shit.
Choo-Choo's a little bit racist sometimes.
I
hates racism, so she's kind of racist.
I mean, so I feel like we're probably going to get something about like Choo-Choo's mom is dead or something because she was killed by a Spacian.
Yeah,
like,
there's a reason she's like the super duper anti-Spacian one of the Earthian.
Yeah.
Really sad that there wasn't another Gundam killed my child's protest sign in the crowd, because that was one of my favorite things from the prologue, is a Gundam killed my child.
Yeah.
It's very silly. The smallest critique I have right now is that every time I see Choo-Choo, I think of that. I think her name literally is Choo-Choo as well, from Sega, who I only know about from the racing game, where all the Sega properties are, and she's like the pink-haired space lady.
From Space Channel 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually don't know what her name is, but my brain also thinks it's Choo-Choo. And
I don't fucking know that. The only reason I know anything about that game's existence is fucking Sega All-Stars Tennis.
Yeah, well, I know it from the racing game because she's in one of the racing games.
Probably in Transformed, because like everyone's in that one, including Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I can think about. It makes me laugh every time. Let's talk about it, Mason. Urusei Yatsura. Get bent.
Yatsura. It was an episode this week.
Sorry.
So this whole episode revolves around the girl in the like space coffin we saw at the end of the episode last week, who is the princess of a planet, and supposedly she has a couple of crows that are with her, and supposedly she's like Sleeping Beauty, where whoever kisses her first is the one to wake her up, marry her, and have amorous congress is, I think, the term that they use.
Mm-hmm.
That is the term they use. Lots of amorous Congress.
And they're like, hey, Mendo, you are like perfectly her type. Go do it. And he's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not comfortable with that. And Atsuboshi is just like, I'll do it. And they're like, no. And then he does it.
So there's a distinction I want to make about this, Mason. At first, it might seem like the reason he doesn't want to kiss her is because he has some kind of respect for consent. But in reality, it's more so that he doesn't like doing things in public, is what it seems to be.
He doesn't like PDA.
Because the show makes it abundantly clear, which we'll get to, him and Otaru are not that different of human beings.
No, they're very much not.
Just that Mendo's hot.
Yeah.
Mendo's better at hiding.
And wealthy.
Mendo is actually just the fucking stereotypical incel nice guy.
Yes. Actually, yes.
Muraboshi's just a fucking absolute clown of a human being.
Yes. So this leads to her waking up and she sees Mendo first and she's like, yeah, you're my husband, totally. And so the elders are like, or the crows are like, fuck. We don't want to break her heart. But like, we gotta follow tradition. And Lum is also like, fuck, no, don't. Because like, I want Moroboshi. I want him. For some reason.
Yeah, we still don't fucking know.
You know what though? Respect to Lum.
What does she see in him?
Respect to Lum. She is dedicated solely to one man, which is more than I can say about any other character in this show, because even Shinobu, like, Shinobu's incredibly inconsistent, which we'll talk about.
But yeah, so this whole episode is devoted to them, like, trying to hide it from, I don't remember her name, but,
she's not even labeled.
It's Kurama.
Kurama, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, oh man, the Nine-Tailed Fox had a fucking glow-up, I guess. But it's them hiding it from her, and then she finds out because Moroboshi tells her, and the elder is like, I gotta stick to tradition. Yes, he did. So they spend the next bit of the episode trying to figure out why this tradition started, and it's just because some dumbass crow in the very start of their religion, or of their village, like, fell in love with someone and did the Sleeping Beauty thing, and he didn't want anyone to know about it. So Kurama's like, fuck it. Mendo, you're a spineless piece of shit. Moroboshi, you are awful. I'm just gonna go do my own thing.
For what it's worth, I do respect Moroboshi for slamming a giant fucking ceremonial bell on top of fucking it's because it's about time somebody realized that he is also not all he is chalked up to be. This show's interesting in that Otaru, I obviously have an inclination not to like because he is just the horn dog character of all time. But
he's the worst.
On one hand, at least you know what you're getting with him, and he's abundantly clear on what he is.
Yes.
Besides his kind of trying to double back with Shinobu and act like he's done nothing wrong. That's where he has by far the most fault for me.
So, the thing I think I've found that I enjoy about this series, which granted, I know I have it low, but like, it's because other shows are better than it. I'm not gonna lie about that. This show is much better if you view it through the lens of like, this is written by a woman and it's a female, like, it's for female empowerment and representation.
I could see that.
Because like, you look at Kurama and you look at Lum and you're like, oh damn, these are actually like decent characters. Like they're written actually pretty
there's actually almost a character there. Wait a second.
But in the same way, you also still have Shinobu, who is still a flawed female character, because not only does she, for some odd reason, keep going back to Otaru or thinking about it, she also doesn't get mad at this episode at all, despite the fact that the guy she clearly likes is potentially going to hook up and have kids with a woman he's just met because he's hot. Like, she does not get anywhere near as mad at him as she does at Otaru, which is insane, because you would think this would be like a kind of problem for her. but
You
I
would
guess
think.
not.
Yeah. But like, I think part of it too is like it's specifically like the alien creatures where it's like the alien women where it's like, oh, you're written decently because this is like these are supposed to be like the pillars of femininity and then looking at the male characters is like, yeah, fuck men. Men are the worst.
Yeah, it's wild because like Kurama and Lum are both very clearly designed to fill that male fantasy the fan service kind of thing. They're in very skimpy outfits. That's how they're done.
Yeah.
But it's never like a thing that feels super like pandery with them.
No.
It
Yeah,
doesn't feel like the character designs from High School DxD or something like that. It doesn't feel super bad.
Yeah, it's not it's just the character designs, and yes,
Yeah.
it's supposed to like appeal, but it's not like the main focus of that.
There is something to be said about the fact that even in the tennis outfit, which is very nothing, which about the same as Lum's normal outfit. None of these episodes have I gone like, oh, these are very fan service outfits, and it's probably because they don't intend the shots to do that. So like it's just the outfit design. You're like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with any of this.
Yeah.
Also, the tennis scene at the start of this episode was dope.
Yeah, the tennis scene was great.
Yeah.
I've seen characters do what Lum does in Prince of Tennis.
Yeah,
they just jump really high in the
air. We're watching
air.
Princess of Tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought the whole bit with the vision going back was just the first guy being a fucking idiot and going hee XD.
Yeah,
that was a good bit.
I mean, it's also a good lesson.
The issue is that I didn't find a lot of the other things in this episode very funny.
Yeah,
the entire bit with Moriboshi and trying to tell Kurama the stuff. I was like, neat, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think we've decorated the love nest to be something that will definitely turn you on, and it's just a bunch of ancient Japan artifacts. Is a bit didn't really get it didn't necessarily make the thing that probably made me laugh most of all the bits was the four Tengus just hammering away at their boss, get bent.
Yeah,
but then they run their own gag into the ground by having them constantly repeat that they are underpaid and not worked, which good lesson. But not the point. It wears its welcome. The lesson of the don't blindly listen to tradition is also an interesting and engaging message, especially for the time this show would have came out. That's actually insane to think about as a form of in Japanese media, especially crazy to think about that being the message. But I also can understand it being able to get through because it's kind of goofy and silly in the way it's delivered. That people can laugh at it and maybe not realize how potentially harmful of a message that would be to culture in the time period. The last thing I'll say about Urusei Yatsura for this week is Ataru's the most not interesting character I've ever seen, because I understand exactly everything about him, and it all makes sense in check, and is exactly what I imagine, with the exception of his indifference and complete and utter desire to not interact with Lum at all.
Yeah,
it's so
really
wild.
Lum is very conventionally attractive. She's designed that way. Moriboshi just does not care.
Yeah,
he's nah, fuck out of here.
It's not even she's more flat-chested than other. It's not. It's just he's the biggest.
Yeah, not like Shinobu has anything. Shinobu's also flat.
Yeah, it's one of
not
the.
It's anything special.
It makes me think that his character's point really is that some guys want something, and when they have it, they will still want the thing they originally wanted and will not stay faithful. Because the implication is that him and Shinobu tried to make things work multiple times, and he was constantly caught being a two-timing asshole. And so it's oh, you have a wife now. She is conventionally really attractive. She actually loves you, and you not only still want Shinobu, but every other girl under the sun as well. And it's not her. It's a really interesting character dynamic that I think is again, really impressive to one, come out at the time, and like Mason said, only enhanced by the fact of knowing that this is from a female mangaka.
Yeah.
I think I like this show a lot in theory, and there will probably be numerous different episodes along its run that are probably going to be really good and I'll enjoy, but I'll also probably have a good batch of them that I won't care for.
Fair. I might honestly, when the show gets voted off, if it does, which I'm sure it probably will at some point, I'll probably do the same thing you're doing with Ghost Game, where I'll continue watching it and just make a list of all the good episodes of it.
Shoutouts to this week for not having horrible old Shrine Man in it. Woo!
Yeah.
Victory for me. My least favorite character type that this mangaka does. Hey guys, Eminence and Shadow. This show's a show.
It shows a fucking time.
For the first time in the 4 episodes we watched, it's continued the last episode's plot.
Yeah,
directly.
They've actually all been the same plot the whole time.
Yeah,
we were just bamboozled.
Yeah, it's all been building up to this character and structuring, but like this is the first direct continuation where we don't pick up and then jump in the timeline to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And this episode's good. I like this. It's a good episode. It still has like comedic bits and it's telling a narrative. Wow, crazy.
Yeah. No, this episode is just really fucking funny. This show's just ridiculously funny.
Hey, if you don't
knows how to do comedy in a really good way that's just slapstick over the top trope bullshit.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't like
it just works.
If you don't like needles and blood,
like the beginning half of Stepmom.
Yeah.
It's playing off all the tropes and dumb shit of its genre. Then Stepmom forgot it was doing that, but yeah, that's besides the point. This just is doing a bunch of dumb shit.
Yeah, if you don't
I not super comfortable with them constantly cutting back to the scene of the holes in her arm? Yeah. I didn't like seeing that 5 times.
If you don't like needles and blood, not the episode for you.
But like, I also it was like that's neat to have this here. That shows, she's in a shitty ass situation right now. But I did not need to see it over and over. I didn't need to see the bit where
what, you didn't like our Hojo-esque
needle, and then also the part where he breaks the needle in her arm. I was like, no,
that part's rough.
Yeah, that part hurt.
So this guy's
Hojo.
This is like a mixture of Hojo from Final Fantasy VII and the human farms from Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah,
very strong energy of both of those in the moment.
His design reminds me a lot of Frankenstein from Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Also my boy,
gray hair guy in lab coat.
Also my boy Kozuki. He's a shit poster on A. Yu-Gi-Oh card. My boy Kozuki. I mean, so the bit where our main character, where he redecorates his entire room.
Oh my god.
I set up the perfect shot. I was like, yeah, this is a very typical shot that would happen here.
Yeah.
I can't believe his gag hasn't run dry for me yet of, I must be the most background character ever. I must out-background character my torturers. A line that absolutely kills me this episode is do you want us to deal with the people who tortured you? No. They should be rewarded. They played their part very well.
Yeah.
Just everything over his head all the
them
time.
With murder.
Then it turned out that they were a part of everything fucking going on. I was like, "Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry."
I still love the fact that that this man seems to still not understand the fact that the obelisk cult's an actual thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That it's an actual problem.
Especially the part where it's not Delta. I thought it was Delta because they made it sound like Delta was gonna come talk to him, but it's not because Delta's the cat girl.
Delta's the black hair.
She's our black cat.
Who's insane.
Buck wild.
Yeah. Instead, it's whoever, I don't remember her name if they say it, but it's whoever comes to see her, to see him is like, yeah, we were only managed to get up like 149 or whatever the number is people to do the night's mission. And there's a moment where he's like, wow, you guys paid a lot of actors, jeez. And she's like, what? And he's like, never mind. It's cool. We're good. That's perfectly enough.
It's like, God damn, like why do you have this many people? Yeah, no, that's fine. That's enough. We can make do.
I dig this organization. I dig the Eminence and Shadow and his whole entire organization. They're very cool. They're neat. I would love to see more of the actual girls do stuff. I'm excited to see him kick the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Really nice to have some power scaling in unique ways where you have this girl who we know has like a good fighting style, is not bad. Her sister's better than her. His sister's probably on par to some degree or close to it, which we'll talk about her in a minute. And then you have the instructor who's like trying to be one of these like 10 knights of the round or whatever number it is they throw out.
Night of round.
Yeah, Knight of Round, and they all sound actually pretty competent, and that's a neat thing. Like it's cool world building in a way you wouldn't normally expect a show to do it. It's like it's beating around the bush in its world building, which is really nice. You don't have to feel like you're getting spoon fed it. His sister shows up this episode.
Yeah,
Yep.
that I was losing my shit at that, where she was just like, "I will break your fucking arm. Get off me."
My brother is too much of a wimp to kidnap a woman. Let me go. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then they break her, and then they do break her arm. They literally break her arm to try to stop her from getting away.
Yeah.
I like or current love interest's older sister too. She seems like a neat character who is unfortunately unaware of the things happening around us. Surprise.
Yeah, she
Government.
seems like who would just be like a normal, super important side character for an actual show.
Yeah.
And then we have this motherfucker.
I'm so glad that our Hojo bro just dies a horrible death. Deserved.
Yeah.
This monster's still on the loose. It's interesting.
No, but this monster's like a homie to one
Yeah, it's a
person.
homie.
Yeah, very
I
Tales of
was like,
Symphonia-esque.
I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this monster's gonna be nice to you because like you were nice to you, talked to it.
You
treated
stared
it
at
just
it
like
and
another-
talked to it
another
and
thing.
tried to help the dude from not getting
God.
the part where he goes to inject blood into it and she's like, I wouldn't do that, dead. It's like, ha! You should have
Told
listened.
you.
I love her, like her in this episode as
Yeah.
well, where she's just like, "Yeah, no, that's really messed up, dude."
Wow, you
Yeah.
can take more of my blood? Damn.
Just like
Yeah.
But
don't,
then you can like
don't take
see
too much
that, like,
of it.
when they finally go to feed her, she finally is in like a state where she's like, "Oh shit,
This is
maybe
bad.
this actually isn't that good." And then she gets back into that like final stage of grief where she's just kind of sitting there going, "Well, guess I just gotta sit here."
Yeah,
Yup.
the knights will come get me. I know. What do you mean? You don't understand. I'm not talking about the knights. Fuck the knights. I'm not worried about the knights. I'm worried about him.
Like,
The
the
sh-
night.
He who lurks in the shadows in order to hunt the shadows. It is I, Shadow.
The Eminence in
This
Shadow.
This is the
Shadow.
most shining, sparkling justice s bullshit I've seen in a piece of media since DR2. It is I, sparkling justice.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where this show goes. It's a fun time. It could ramp itself up and get even more points with me, but for now it's serviceable and a fun
Yeah.
show to watch.
It's just a good time. It's certainly my cutoff where like
If you're
this
worse than
this show is
Eminence
not
and Shadow.
yeah, the show's not good. It's just a good fucking time. And
Yeah.
I enjoy like every moment of it. But God, is this there are so many actually good shows that sit above it.
Yeah.
But if you're not as good, if I don't have as good of a time watching you as I do Eminence, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Gotta learn how to do something.
Yeah. With that in mind, do it yourself.
Yo, this episode,
It's nice.
great.
It's a good vibe.
Yeah. This episode was actually really good.
We cut the cast a bit.
Yeah.
And we just focus on it. We don't even go to fucking school this time. It's the weekend, which means sleepover. We get this is the pudding episode. We get a whole lot of pudding. Pudding's
Pudding.
great when she's in a situation where she's able to actually like exist.
I'm so happy to have this episode because I was like, the LP makes it very clear that she's a fun person to be around, and Seraphim very much likes her. So like, let her exist in a fashion that makes me not kind of indifferent on her.
Yeah, make her
Yeah.
not just be sitting there staring jealously
Yeah.
at Seraphu as she's walking home with friends.
Tsundere. Lots of
But
those
yeah,
this season.
we just get it. It's just a real good episode. Putting general just putting her mom isn't home. So she tries to figure out a way to go say hi, to go interact with Serufu without actually going over to hang out with her, because she couldn't do that. She's a peasant commoner who goes to poor person school. She doesn't go to the super cool school with cutting edge technology, blah 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 bullshit.
Which let's also not forget.
And then Serufu's mom's just the chillest motherfucker ever and goes, "Come eat dinner with us."
Yeah.
We made pork.
Again.
They eat pork every fucking day.
This poor pig.
Poor fucking pig.
Crying.
Let's not forget that. Go ahead, Mason.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, by the way, the pig's name is Meat.
pork. Oh, Meat. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
Meat.
Miku.
Let's not forget something that really makes this episode better in retrospective is that at the start of the show is that Purin's is upset that Serufu doesn't get into the school, right? The whole idea is that she clearly wanted them to go to school together.
Yeah.
Which is why she's always so glooming, but it's easy to forget that because that's episode 1.
Yeah,
I will
and you're
be
like, there's
honest,
also no fucking way Serufu made it into the school. Serufu's a fucking idiot.
I will be honest. I had to skim through the episodes 2 and 3 for last week's podcast, but was very much like, no, I can tell I will like the show and it's a good vibe. I did fully watch through episodes 2 and 3 before 4 this week. And yeah, I love this show's very nice. It's very comfy.
It's just comfy.
It very much reminds me of Aizoken.
Yeah.
Like,
it has similarities. It has moments where its arts, you mentioned it, Mason, very similar. That when every time they fucking disappear at the end of episode 3 and they part ways, or episode 2 and parts of 3.
Hyper realistic flowers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful stuff this episode. But also, what's the new name?
Jopko.
Yeah,
Jopko.
Jopko.
Jobuko.
Jopko's great this episode.
Or Queen Elizabeth.
Juliet Queen Elizabeth III.
Or third. Whatever. Yeah. Stupid ass shit.
No, I love Jopko in this episode. She's great. There is something that episode 3 does really well that this episode also does really well, which is, please don't forget, she's a child. And I very much like the characters who realize that and like still will treat her with the same level of respect you would like someone who is in the school level that they are at, but also recognize that there are some things you have to be careful of, like Pudding's mom charging her what seems to be an actual cheap amount.
It's $100.
$10,000 is $100, but she just says 10,000, and because she's American, she goes $10,000. Okay.
Yeah, which is fine because her family's rich. She has no problem with it. She would do it anyway.
It's just a goofy little bit. She's like $10,000, but then the mom doesn't correct her on it. I was like, oh.
They'll work it out later, but it's really interesting because it's one of those situations where everything we know from Pudding's point of view points to her mother not being the best, but then our one interaction with her is a really great interaction, which means nothing. Doesn't having a good interaction doesn't mean that makes up for a mother who's always at work, right? And that's like the big hint we get in this episode.
And look, I said it in the Discord at one point, but I was like, I'm really not ready for DIY to just like have an episode where it stabs.
Yeah, it gives you a fucking little taste of it this episode. When you see the bit of her as a child alone, I'm like, no, don't do this. Stop. I don't want this.
And you get you get the line from Jobco that's like, you and I are similar, and not just in the obvious ways. And it's like
because we get a little bit with Jobco last episode as well.
Yeah. Man, but also that scene we didn't get to talk about some of these shows. We didn't get to talk about too much in the first episode, so I am going to try to bring up some stuff that I do want to talk about for some of them. The scene in episode 3 where Jobco is in the hotel alone, crawls onto one of the 2 king-size beds and just balls up and falls asleep is incredibly heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
For having like nothing over that should make it that way.
Just like, damn.
In the same way, the scene that I have screenshotted of Jobco in the hammock and then puts the sheet over her and it's just like, oh yeah, she's a kid, is very good. Her room's full of ninja.
Yes.
I love the hostage situation we have here of I'm moving in with you. But why would I? I'll give you cool apps that aren't on the market. Well, fuck.
Yep.
Also, here's Serafu. She's here now.
Serafu's vibing.
Shit, what a
She do be
character.
vibing,
There
though.
is no there are very few characters that hit the threshold of the definition of I'm vibing as much as Serafu
Yeah.
does.
She's literally just vibing.
The other two characters that come to mind are again Yo from Shaman King and the dude from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX who has the Moki Mokis.
Oh yeah. The Moki
But
Moki
he is
dude
also
the
actually always high.
Yes.
So like,
actively, that man is the stoner of the show.
yeah.
Like, oh god, I
but no-
forgot about him.
What a fucking mood. Treehouse. This is cute. It's really
Yeah.
cute to have Serafu dream about the flashback and then show that Pudding remembers it and is giving them the idea to do it.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of where the nickname comes from for Pudding is that she puffs out her cheeks like a pufferfish.
Mm.
And so everything about this show is adorable and I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, it's just cute, wholesome fun.
Do it
Like,
until
I
it's
don't
not.
think it's gonna be like I don't think it's gonna like win the season or anything unless
No.
the stabbing episode is gonna like actually really fucking stab me.
No.
But like
But next week, Cat Girl.
Cat Girl.
Cat Girl.
Sometimes when one of your shows is Akiba Maid War, you need something like this
You
to
take
pull
the
yourself off
wins.
after
Yeah.
watching Akiba.
Sometimes when your season has been My Master Has No Tail, Akiba Maid War, you're quite comfortable with the do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
I mean more in the case of like we got some shows that do some wild dark shit, and then you just
Yeah.
sit here and you're
You might.
serotonin.
Serotonin. Hey guys, speaking of serotonin, Fran.
What?
Fran.
Ron,
Fran.
Ron.
I
she
fucking
vibe.
I love this gift
I-
so much. It's
It
oh,
It hasn't pulled up yet.
oh, it's
Oh, for me it did.
it's so good.
Yeah.
There it is.
Hi.
So
Damn, you're not supposed to bring a sword into the bath.
so
Talk about that.
fun fact. Just a neat little anecdote about this. So I was watching this last night when I started a call with my girlfriend, and I was like, "Hey, babe, you need to just see this." And it was this exact portion where I was just like, we started the call and I was in this bit and I was just like, no, like you need to see this. This is the most adorable fucking thing. And she's like, I love her so much.
We love her
I
so
want her.
much. She must be
want-
protected.
I want to protect her. I was like, yes, that is the feeling of everyone on the
That is
podcast.
also the plot of this show. And speaking of, we open where last episode left off, murdering goblins and hobgoblins. And we establish a really interesting and good dynamic between Teacher and Fran, which is, okay, no, you do need to get stronger. I've been babying you. I will make sure you don't get ganked by an arrow, or anyone from behind. You focus on killing things and getting stronger, and you'll take a couple hits and you'll grow. That's really cool. It's really nice. It allows you to have a sense of potential danger.
Fran jumped at the start of this fight. She was level 3.
She's 12.
She's level 12.
Yeah,
by
12 at
of
the end.
this.
She killed a lot of goblins. And
She killed a lot of goblins. She killed over 100.
Real quick before we get into the rest of this episode, world building, Lord, man, it's again peak fantasy show right here. The god of chaos, the goddess of chaos, the only one of the most strongest gods, who was who just kind of went, "Sup, I'm out of here. I'm gonna challenge your strongest warriors."
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
I'm gonna make dungeons, and the concept of dungeons are really cool here. The idea
Yeah.
of a core that depending on how old it is will shape a unique ecosystem that based on whatever it is, the intelligence and wisdom of the creature that uses it will also shape what it's like. Builds for such interesting idea. Man, I want to play this game.
Right?
it's
I want to play this game.
it's such a cool idea.
Like, this game would be so fun.
Yeah, and some really interesting things we also get like on another world building level is, we haven't really seen something like this since Paladin, of this idea of like, yeah, here's a god that is not necessarily good or bad. Hard to say. It's a little tricky to get a feel on. Except for the God of War. That guy's fucked up.
Yeah,
He's
that
no
guy
longer...
turned evil.
He might as well be the Demon King with how this plot is going. Which is, in my opinion, a better way to do something like this than saying, the Demon King was once sealed away by a hero and its body parts slowly feed the bosses of the dungeon. Doing it a God of War who was literally chopped into pieces and banished into the Nether Realms is really sick. Like, every bit of lore this episode gives is really cool. We also get to understand...
A lot of it.
We get to understand how the armor's gonna get repaired and how much it's gonna cost and the logistics of that, which I can't believe forgot that. That's insane.
Like-
Calm down.
Like, I love that it does the fucking MMO bit where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you have to upgrade your equipment because otherwise it will be unfeasible to do it because it will get so fucking expensive.
Teacher
I
gets
like
his
that.
sheath. It lets him unsheath himself. Smart design. Though he probably could have just telekinesis himself out of it anyway, this is cool, so I'm not gonna
It's
complain.
cooler.
It also lets his eyes peek out perfectly, as I expected.
Yeah, I like that we're just doing he just kind of has ghost arms now.
Yeah. Wee! Wacky inflatable balloon man.
Wacky
And
wavy
tube man.
inflatable arm man.
Yeah. Also of note is that there's a night order. They're kinda assholes, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what? That checks. They don't want to help if only the mommy was here. So
Fuck the
that,
police.
if only mommy was here, the rank A adventurer who just isn't here because or sword fucks shit up and disturbed the ecosystems.
Yeah.
That has some Eminence and Shadow level energy of like oh, that was my bad. Whoops. I guess that's I didn't mean for that to go so hard. We have the bath scene. I appreciate that. One, it's played entirely as kind of like a wholesome bit with Fran, and two, that teacher is acutely aware that he should not be there and would probably not do it if not held hostage by his daughter.
Yeah.
And then also Nell sets it straight up, please don't bring your sword into the bath. It has eyes, it's creepy. No.
You should not bring weapons into the bath.
But she's wonderful. I very much enjoyed it. You're a cat. You like baths. This isn't right. We get cute Fran eating scene, and then she kicks the shit out of goblins and hobgoblins because the rest of the adventurers are kind of garbage. With the exception of...
Seems like other adventurers are decent at their job.
Yeah,
and then Fran's just...
Yeah, sorry. They're not ready. They're not ready for this goblin dungeon.
Yeah, like, these other adventurers deserve to be at the ranks of, like, F and G.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing.
Also,
Friends should be at, like, B.
You know what? Also, entirely fair that they do kind of get their shit kicked in. They did decide to have their rally outside of the dungeon, which, you know what? I get it. You scouted it. They didn't come out at all. Fair. You had reason to suspect you would be fine. Also kind of on you for doing the pep talk literally in front of your enemy. There are some really cool scenes in this, like, the getting ready to go into the cave before the episode ends. Or Oni Boy. I don't remember his name. It starts with a D.
Maru or something.
Yeah. He's only C rank. Crazy.
Yeah.
Cool power scaling. Good way to do it to establish that this man who was like an even match for Fran to a degree is C rank. Before she starts getting levels and stuff.
And I like that there's a very noticeable jump between each level.
Yeah.
Like, we can see the difference between each one.
Yeah, it's like early Fairy Tale, where it's like very clear these are the wizards who are good at their job, and then that just kind of gets muddled into a bunch of garbage.
Unfortunately,
that's for nothing thing.
Yeah, but
I have not watched that show because I've been told not to.
It has some good elements to it. But again, that's for another time. No, I really also enjoyed we're gonna bump you up to F because you're not E. And everyone knows it, and it'll be really weird if we keep you there going into this raid. So, you're
like, we
F
can't
for
keep you
now.
at G. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we have to move you up. Yeah, no, she goes from G to
she's
F.
In G,
You're right.
They just go, okay, we know you haven't done the required amount of quests.
Go to F.
But keeping you at G is a fucking crime.
We would get more questions if we didn't bump you up.
Yeah.
But it would also feel weird. We can't bump you more than like one rank.
Real
That just doesn't make sense.
fun moment of, don't get the crystals, that'll draw too much attention to ourselves. Air step, air step, air step, air step.
Yeah.
That's a high level unique class skill. Magic. Fire magic out the wazoo. High level fire magic out
Even
the
higher
wazoo.
level fire magic. Earth
It's-
magic, even higher level
it's-
fire magic.
it's just
Friend,
really-
what the fuck?
It's just a really good moment of, we probably shouldn't let them catch on that we're a little busted. Immediately lets them know how busted
Yeah.
they are. Her saving the dude is great. That poor man is about to get murdered, gets saved, and then still gets his face covered in blood, including his mouth. Whoops.
Yes.
Shit, should have kept your
Yeah.
mouth closed.
At least he's not dead.
Yeah, true. I also really like, it's a cool way to build the actual adventuring group up and not making them seem completely worthless, to be like, no, Fran just cut them a path. Now they're ready to actually get their shit together, and they don't have to worry about an entire backlog of getting murdered. Also, Demon. I like this show.
Yeah.
I like the show a
Sounds
lot. This is a really strong episode. This show's episodes feel insanely long. Not that I'm
Yes.
complaining,
Yeah.
but they always feel like they run longer than they should.
Like, they're definitely 22 minutes, but they feel like they're like 30.
I'm super excited for this show going forward. I love it. I think it's doing a lot of stuff really well. Really, I think there's an argument that, like, again, and I can say this about a lot of good shows, in my opinion. If you, like, remove the isekai element out of it, like, I don't think you would lose a lot, and I think it would gain a lot more traction amongst, like, the general community, because they hear isekai and they have a brain aneurysm, assuming it's going to be bad.
Which, honestly, can't blame anyone for feeling that
No,
way. to be
I
fully
get that,
honest.
but what I'll give this show is I do like the idea of, like, an element we do get to see of them trying to use the isekai thing is the bit where once they're done talking about the gods, teacher's like, multiple gods who are highly respected? Yeah, that's another very clear difference from my world, baby. But it's interesting to, like, that's the cool element that I like when they use the isekai stuff, if they're not paying too much attention to it, but they'll still bring it up as, like, a, don't forget you came from that and how it differs, and it's neat. I like it.
I don't know how I hadn't looked at teacher's voice actor, what he had done before.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute legend of a voice actor this man is.
Okay.
He's Urahara from Bleach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
He was Sogen from Buchigiri, which was the Doctor.
Yep.
Oh, fuck yeah.
He was Torchwick in Ice
Ice
Queendom.
Queendom. Nice.
He's the old guy from Ryman's Club, our duo partner.
Oh,
partner.
he's a really cool
Animate the
character. We
legend.
should finish that show.
I need to watch the show.
Tanjiro's dad.
Oh,
Oh.
fuck yeah.
He's
Dad's a
fucking
homie.
James from Pokemon. Zamasu from Dragon Ball Super. Night Eye from My Hero.
Oh, fuck.
Good voice.
Legend of a voice actor here.
Truly.
Speaking of a legend, hey Mason.
Chainsaw Man.
boy. So I want to explain. If we look at the power ranking quick, you might notice that Michael has a show at number 1, and I have it at 2, and Mason has it at 2. I watched,
And it's also in the title of the stream.
yes.
Called You Are Sleeping on Bocchi the Rock.
I watched Bocchi the Rock, and we'll get to it. Don't worry. And I loved that episode. We'll get to it. And I walked out of it going, I can't believe I'm putting Bocchi the Rock at number 1. Immediately watched this episode of Chainsaw Man and went, oh, I can't.
Yeah. Yes.
I will let you know. This scene that the GIF is plays out, and I verbally went, I'm gonna come. Just,
It's the cone scene.
just sitting here, just it's
the full fight.
it's the fight scene. Oh, just this fight looks so good.
This
Mason,
fight
talk
is
about
so fucking
this episode of
good.
Chainsaw Man.
Okay, so we're continuing where we left off from the last episode, which is Denji has killed the Bat Devil, and then the Leech Devil shows up and takes his fucking arm. So Denji, understandably, does not want to die and doesn't want power, he doesn't want power to die because he has something to gain from her living. And so he's like, fuck, okay. Pulls on the chain and he gets a little chode. He gets a little chode of a chainsaw on his head.
Not enough
That's
blood.
it. Not enough blood. So he does this fight basically just as a human.
He's so fucking base.
And it's based as fuck because he holds his own. Like he beats the fuck out of her for a bit.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the fight, he almost kills her. And then takes the tongue straight through the chest. And right as he's about to get yoinked in and he gets the yoinky sploinky cone.
Cone.
Aki shows up, and we see what Aki can do, which is the Fox Devil.
Fan base, I promise you, Aki's not just my favorite character because he has a wolf-like thing. I know it's a fox. It also very much looks like a wolf a lot of the time.
Yes.
It's not the only reason he's my favorite character.
Like Amaterasu from that
Okami.
It's almost
Okami has.
It's almost like foxes
swirls.
are dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like they're all they sit in a very similar thing. Yeah.
But
after that, Denji wakes up. He's regenerated his arm because they gave him blood. And Aki goes, so Power tried to kill you, right? And he's like, what are you talking about, dude? We were just doing our patrol. And Aki's like, look, man, you cannot fucking do this. You're going to die, and I'm going to have to take the heat for it. And Denji's like, look, man, I have shit I gotta do. And Aki's like, fine. So I'll make you a deal. Whatever, you can do whatever you want, but you have to fucking listen to me. Please.
I kinda have my shit together, he said.
Yes, I kinda have my shit together.
I think the line directly is, I'm kinda good at understanding social norms, or something like that. It's really funny.
He's like, just listen to me. You can keep the same lifestyle you're getting right now. I just need you to do this so we don't all fucking die. And Denji's like, all right, you can rely on me for that. I'm still gonna be a dick, but I'll listen to you. And then Power moves in with Miyako, and
what a horrible set of events.
Power's just the worst roommate in existence. She's awful. She doesn't bathe, she doesn't flush, she doesn't clean up after herself. She's just the worst.
People think Denji's bad.
Yeah.
He has a standard.
Denji's only bad because he grew up in a shithole.
Yes.
He was never taught manners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then...
to learn them.
Yo, Carrot. That seems so good. Carrot.
It's like, yo, Carrot. Hey, be nice to the farmers who farm this fucking bit.
Yes. But then at the end of the episode, Power's like, hey, we had a deal. I wasn't going to follow through on it, but, you did save my life and my cat's life, so, I owe you.
And then you also covered for me in saving my life again.
And not like she cares.
Yeah. Man, John's not here, so I mean, I don't know how much we want to talk because I don't know if he's. There's a part of me that's like, I don't know if he's gonna watch it. Is he really gonna watch it? He might. But on one hand, we all know. Yeah, we all know where this bit's going as manga readers. So, haha, funny.
I'm excited. I'm excited for John's reaction to it as well.
Yeah,
I want to hear how he feels about.
Oh yeah,
this.
There are a couple of things I want to talk about. First one, Aki reporting the Makima. There are some elements of character of if you haven't picked up on how Aki feels about Makima yet, you do here.
Yes.
And they still haven't spelled it out. And they won't spell it out probably till next episode, if not the one after, depending on how much they get through next episode. Because we're getting to hotel, and in the hotel is where we hear it, because...
I'm so excited.
He gets his shit chewed out by Eye Patch. I forget her name.
Yeah, by Himeno.
Alex would have killed Alex. If Alex is listening, he's going to stab me for not remembering Himiko's name. Himeno. Sorry. I know she's important. Sorry. He loves her. Which rightfully so.
It
Oh
was
boy, does
great.
this also mean we're approaching a scene I'm not ready to see animated? Oh
Yeah.
boy. Second thing,
Open mouth.
yeah, second thing I want to talk about. Denji's speech to the Leech Devil.
Yes.
Anyone who's getting in the Chainsaw Man and is like, I don't know, man, Denji's all about boobs, and like he's such like anyone who like is turned off by that element of Denji and Denji as a whole not really caring for him, this is supposed to be a message to you. he
Yeah.
Denji could beat you in a fight, and that means that his dream is just as, if not more important than yours.
The thing with Denji is the fact that, like, yeah, like on the surface level, yeah, it's just about boobs. But the real thing with Denji is just the fact of, like, he has not had actual fucking human experiences, and he just wants to live a normal ass life for a bit.
He gets a chance to live, and he doesn't know when that chance might stop, so he wants to do the things he's always wanted to do. And those things happen to all be sexual, and you're gonna have to deal with it.
It's almost like you go through puberty with no time to interact with anyone. You get horny.
We don't really talk about it. Denji's like 14, 13?
He's 15, I believe.
15? Okay.
He's like mid-teens. He's like 15 or 16, but like he's not old.
See, my brain is like, he's older. Then I remember Chainsaw Man Part 2. No, he's not very old.
Yeah.
Man, the Leech Devil, horrifying. Wonderful look. So, and okay. So this is the first moment where I go, oh boy, these fights are going to be incredible the whole way through. I'm actually going to be able to understand what's going on in them, is that everything is so clear in this fight.
People say Denji is 16, which...
16 or around 17, because his birth year is 1980.
It says he's 16 now, and he's 17 in Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but like everything's so clear in this fight, which is such a good sign for later, where some of the manga panels get a little hard to tell. I'm so excited. Him running through the entrails, what a good!
It's so good. Like, this fight is peak. It's so good.
Imagine,
and it's just gonna get better.
There's going to be an edit that's going to strip the bat fight straight into this one, and it's going to look so good. It's just going to be a constant, clean flow of action. The stuff with Power at the start of this episode looks incredible. Is great. This is the stuff I really like about Power, and as a manga reader, there are reasons why Power's not my favorite character. I think she deserves better. And I think this is some of the stuff that I do really like about her, is where you get to feel like she's a character. And I really like that. Boy, oh boy. This episode's so pretty. And this
episode's just good. It's just really good.
Old Man Aki, coffee grinder. Great. My favorite. The podcast devil is a wonderful Twitter account. Run by some of my favorite streamers, and I just love that tweet that is, Aki doesn't have his shit together because he is a coffee grinder.
He doesn't speak and feel ridiculous and feel like he has something in his life put together.
He doesn't. Alpha in the new thing, new ED. This ED slaps and is hilarious.
It slaps, but God, did it scare shit out of me where it just cut into it immediately.
It's loud.
It's like, fuck, okay.
I've watched Dorohedoro though, so I'm used to it. I also went back and listened to episode 2 and 3's EDs, because like I was kind of not really paying attention to them. Man, episode 3's ED really is just like
noise.
Goes hard, yeah. This
ED's
really
the
cool.
biggest fan of it, but goddamn, episode 2's ED is really good.
This one I think might be my favorite out of them. I do like 2's, but this one's nice. I like it. It's cute. Yeah. It's Power. But there's a Bobo reference in it.
Yeah.
Michael, additional thoughts?
Not really. Chainsaw Man good. It's really pretty, and it just reminds me of why I don't think when I read Chainsaw Man, I fucking blitzed this thing. I was super engrossed in it.
Me too.
I read the entire thing in 3 days.
Yeah.
I started on a Friday and finished it on that Sunday.
I think I read it in a week or two, but I was really over the course of 3 days, spread out.
And then when I would think about Chainsaw Man after the fact, I was like, I remember really liking these parts, but like my brain couldn't remember why exactly I liked it so much as I was reading it. Like my favorite part of Chainsaw Man is by far a part near the end that I can't talk about, but I mention it constantly.
Yeah.
Chapter 76 or whatever until the end of part
Mhm.
1, where it goes fucking buck wild.
Yeah.
My brain didn't remember why exactly I liked the beginning so much, and then rewatching it, I'm like, no, this is just good ass writing.
good.
This shit's good.
Yeah.
And there are gonna be people who are like come into this because everyone hypes up Chainsaw Man and they're watching it and they're like,
see the
I don't
CG and then go.
Well, not even that, but like I have a friend who's watching it and he's like, I don't really like I'm not sold. Like I don't like see the big and I'm like, I don't know. Like it's hard to tell you how much better this is going to get once you've been through it and you do it again. Like and I know that sounds horrible to be like, if you once you're through the ride, you'll appreciate it so much more, but it's so true. Like
it's like you don't understand it. You have to. It gets good 100 hours.
It's not even.
It's one of those. It's like I think the first real bit that it starts getting good is the next episode. It's when we get into the hotel. Like that's the first bit where it's like, oh, okay, this is where we're going. But like as we go through it, like it just gets better and better.
I also think there's like an element of like if you don't get Denji, like there isn't like you can read and hear what Denji is saying, what his character's about, but there's like another layer constantly over his character that is remember what this man has been put through and how low he's been, and once you recognize that, and if you're someone who's been close, like not obviously not cut up in a dumpster close, but like if you've ever been someone who's like maybe had a hard time in your life and like you have had to deal with like the bare necessities.
Yeah.
Denji's story fucking hits, and there's an element of it that like you just kind of you grow to respect Denji in that he is a kid who is doing his best. And he really is doing his best.
Denji is certainly like the realest motherfucker.
Yeah. And in some ways, one of the reasons I like Aki so much, and you kind of get a glimpse of it in this episode, is that Aki would be your main character in a more grounded shonen. He feels like Aki feels more in place in Jujutsu Kaisen than he does here.
Yes.
He is a Jujutsu Kaisen character, almost motivations and everything, and we'll get to that. And he rocks here because he bounces off the rest of the cast so well. He is the grounded person, and that says a lot about Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
There are maybe only one or two other characters who are as grounded, if not more, than he is. Maybe three, because Himeno, I would say maybe a bit. She's up there.
Her, the other dude, the old guy,
the old guy.
Kobeni's just normal.
Well,
Kobeni,
yes, but we'll get to her. We see her this episode, but we'll get. I'm also thinking about Octopus guy. He shows up a lot, especially in the newer stuff. Maybe it's not Octopus. What's his?
Are you talking about Beam?
Not Beam. Nope.
I'm like, I think you'd remember that Beam's not Octopus.
He's the guy
Beam's
who's he's the guy who's important.
5'11".
He's the guy who's hanging around at the start of the chapter 2, the second Chainsaw Man 2 stuff. He's just the dude who just winds up existing and always. He's just the only guy who ever gets to just exist.
Yeah.
He's like the only other one. Couple of things of note. Gundevil mentioned this episode. First time there. That will be important going forward. This isn't really for us. This is for everybody else. Establishment that Himeno is higher up than Aki is slightly important. Blood's important. That's very important for the Devils. We've really kind of gotten an idea of what it does at this point if you haven't yet. We might have mentioned it. I don't know if we did. There was technically a fight that skipped between episode 2 and 3.
Yeah. I mentioned
that fight. One of the only real important things there
at the start of 2
is that the mother and daughter, who are in this episode would normally appear there, they moved them into the bat fight. So that they're here. So that Denji saves them here. Which, you know what? It works. It works.
Fine.
It honestly maybe works better because then all the people who talk about him to Aki, or Aki hears about, are from this incident, which makes sense. He's much more...
The cuts of the Muscle Devil is like super jank in original. Because it's certainly chapter 1 ends, and chapter 2 just starts with him fighting the Muscle Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really neat. We also introduced my favorite character, which is guy who he saves, but throws with his.
Yo, he threw my car.
He threw my car. He is my favorite guy in the manga because he does not let go of this. My car. I love him so much. Favorite side character in a show.
Right. Like the cabbage merchant from Avatar.
My cabbage.
My car.
Okay, and now I have to do a little yoinky sploinky. Oh, cool! It lined up perfectly.
Oh, you're hitting him with the yoinky sploinky.
Yeah,
oh, boy.
my images decided to be mean to me today. So I had to do it this way.
I hoped this was what you grabbed.
Yeah, I maybe let this be a little too long of a screenshot, but you know what?
I think it's fine.
This is it.
I think it's perfect.
You have to understand that I had to cut it before she turns into Godzilla. We'll talk about it. Who wants, Michael? You want to talk about Bocchi the Rock?
Sure, I'll talk about Bocchi the Rock.
I know how much you like this.
See, I may have just said that Denji's the realest motherfucker, but actually Bocchi's the realest motherfucker.
It's so good.
She has like 3 different nicknames. Whatever, yeah. This episode's just a fun ride because it's her experiencing writer's block, trying to write lyrics when she's never done them before, and going, shit, I'm depressed. All my lyrics are gonna be super gloomy and depressing. But like our singer is
not depressed.
Our singer is like the most optimistic person in existence.
I don't think she's been depressed a day in her life.
Yeah. She's like, damn, these lyrics wouldn't make sense for her to sing. Then she tried writing normal, cheery, generic bullshit lyrics, and she goes, "Nah, but these suck." Huh? Okay, who am I gonna talk to? I'll talk to Ryo, because Ryo is a homie. And Ryo goes, "These lyrics suck." and then she goes, "Well, I know, but like, but it wouldn't make sense if I wrote things like I would say, because like it's for her." And she's like, "But wouldn't it be funny?" And Ryo's like,
such a good
true.
line.
So good.
And also,
photo.
She just has like 18 mental breakdowns this episode, and they're all this fucking beautiful.
It's so good.
This show's just so good and funny. It has like actually compelling drama bits.
So much happens in this episode too. On top of that, plus as much as like I was hesitant about our redhead, Kita.
I think it's Kita.
Kita. As much as I was hesitant about Kita, given that one of her traits is horny, she's fine. She's totally fine. It's totally.
What's the fucking screenshot I grabbed earlier?
It's really good.
But Senpai could jerk me around anytime he wants.
As much as she
calm
wants.
down.
So this episode opens on them trying to make the band better, which is such a good bit. I've made us color wristbands, to which then Vio is just like, we can make a profit off these, and we're like, but she's just like, this is a scam, and she's like, and it can be even more expensive if we sign them, and then she starts signing everybody else's bands too. So she's either faking signatures or she's signing her name on everybody's bands, either of which is really funny. Because they each have a color, and the first one she starts with is the orange yellow one, which is not hers. Hers is the black one. And then it's red, and then it's pink, or colors for them. These are cute. The zip tie thing's cute. I'm glad they're running with it. They also go to do their photo shoots.
A profo.
I think I died at the moment where they were like, we should do a jumping photo, because a wise man once said that every anime that has a jumping shot in it, it's a great anime.
It's a banger.
Yeah, every anime with a jumping shot in its intro.
And I had to go back and check if this show had a jumping shot in its OP, which it technically doesn't, but its OP's crazy enough as is.
Yes.
You want to know what show does have a character jumping in its opening? Chainsaw Man.
Right.
Boy, the cafe conversation with Rio is so good. For an episode predominantly filled with like antics and like anxiety of writing lyrics, that's such a grounded and serious, like, good drama conversation.
Yo, the music fucking went hard during that for like no reason.
Also, new ED this episode. Well, I think this show's gonna do whatever.
Was it new?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's new.
New visual and new song. New visual and new song.
I guess just the art style being completely the same. My brain was like, oh, this is the same thing.
I think it's
the vibe also slaps.
I wonder if this is gonna be an every 3 episode show, where every 3 episodes it swaps its ED. Because there are a couple of shows that have done that, and I always like that. But like, what a good, like, I'm glad to get character from Rio and to have it be serious outside of her normal demeanor. I love her, but like, it's nice to have please don't do this. Actually, this was exactly what caused my last band to split, and I hate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which also is the most fitting thing for her character. Sure, her character's the most on point of any character in this show. I would argue, even more so than Bocchi, where, like, she's the exact type. I can envision meeting a person who is this in my actual life. That's crazy. The fact that, like, she visits news stores, but is also like, the old record store, it's a shame it's gone down. Darn new businesses. Didn't you just go to... Yeah, it's cool. Them walking out of the cafe, and she's like, you got me, Bocchi? And Bocchi's like, I thought... And she's like, I just wanted to eat something that wasn't weed. And she's just like,
you're still eating weeds. God, when she first gets the lyric book and goes, this is a masterpiece, and Bocchi goes, I mean, sure, but whatever, I don't know. And she realizes she's like at the fucking autograph page, and like, that's great.
I was really hoping they were gonna do it again when they showed the rest of the group again, and they were like, oh wow, this is neat. I think it's really cute. And Bocchi's like, what? And Ryo's like, no, not that one. That's not it. I'm really excited to hear them play. It's interesting. I love.
It's wild that this is technically a music show, and we've heard them play all of like for half a second.
Well, yeah, K-On! Also takes like 5 episodes for them to play their first song.
We hear Bocchi play a lot, to be fair. Like, we hear her like own stuff.
And her stuff is really good.
Yeah. And like,
it's all math rock shit.
To a person being kicked out of their band as she pulls the guitar out of the garbage can.
Yes.
I also really enjoy like the practicing. Like, there's a lot. This show's doing so much right now to get like the wheels turning, and it's all working. Like, this is wonderful. I watched this show, and I'm like, I have so many people I want to watch this show, because this would not normally be something that I would be like, yeah, this is my show, baby. But this is so good. This is
everyone's show on the podcast.
It does everything right that it's supposed to do, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I can't handle her losing her shit.
I told my girlfriend last night, because I was watching this as well. I was just like, so John might, like, I don't know, but he might win this season again. She's like, possible. God damn it. She's like, God damn it. I'm like, but like,
it's not the show I thought.
Mad.
If Blue Lock wins, I'll be like mad ironically. If this wins, I won't even be mad.
Yeah.
Like,
I won't be mad. It's like he just picked a banger.
For what I'll say, is that like, I don't even know what to compare the comedy bits of this show to, because they're just so uniquely this show to me. There's probably
like
something.
Fucking Pop Team Epic.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe Pop Team Epic.
Bonkers
like
bullshit.
Insane bullshit. But like, the serious stern cafe convo is very Given. Like, that's like, I would imagine that in something like Given, or like parts of Fuka where like they're talking with like old, like, people who used to be in bands to get advice. Like I like music shows that do this kind of thing. And I'm very excited to dive into a lot of the other girls too. I also I have to play guitar and sing. I can barely do one. What if you sing, Bocchi?
This is the fucking bit that happens in K-On!
Yeah.
This is the exact bit that happens with Yui. They go, you have to play guitar and then sing, and then she has to learn how to do both at the same time. Which leads to its own separate bit. Which, I don't know how I'll feel if they do it the exact same way, the conclusion of the bit. I won't say what it is. But if they do it, I don't know if I'll be mad or happy that they do the exact same K-On! Bit. But, yeah.
Sorry, man, you look at this gif and you can't tell me that this show isn't something. Just everything about it. And again, you don't even get the part where she's a Tsuchinoko and then turns into Godzilla looming in the town.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to this breakdown,
Yeah.
and it's not her only
I grabbed
one.
the screenshot of her just sitting there staring over the sunset.
I also
as the
love
Godzilla.
the part where she's trying to write the lyrics, so she tries to fake being a happy person, and her family comes in like, "Are you
like, are you
okay?
Are you okay?
Exorcist?"
And her sister's just the biggest dingus on the planet. And
Yes.
I love this show. Oh no, it didn't do the thing. Hold on. Let me fix something quick.
Screenshot's so good.
I have to redo something.
Ooh.
Here it is. We want to do this and this. And now, there we go. God, Mason, you literally just watched this episode.
Yeah, it's episode something.
Hi, it's Bibliophile. This week we go out of the castle. I love this. Great to change setting. It's actually really nice to have this cast in different clothing in a new setting with a kind of whole entire new idea. I guess first we start with the bit with Christopher and his mother, which is interesting, and clearly the ending of this arc is going to tie into whatever she told him. You have me interested, show, enough to keep this going. And then they're at a traveling book fair. An Ace Attorney fucking traveling book fair rolled into town.
It's the Scholastic Book Fair.
And I just, there's a lot going on here. For one, Ellie has to not call Christopher my lord. It's my lord.
Your Highness.
Your Highness. And if she fails, she gets punished. Which is a kiss. It was really funny having Mason start this episode and just going, they have to do something for Christopher. He can't just be perfect. And then scenes like this happen. I'm like, I don't know if this is what we wanted, but it's something.
The legitimate the expression I made when that happened was, oh.
I was like, oh, we're getting into this.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, Christopher, you left the castle walls for 1 minute. Calm down, buddy. And then he bites her finger later, and they do a scene.
Chris, you left the castle walls for a minute. No one to be pitching a tent right now. God damn.
The zoom in later on him biting her finger and then licking it, and everyone just being like, whoa, bro, is hysterical.
Go, find a fucking room. Holy shit.
But the
There's
plot
the point where they actively, like, one guy actively is like, could you maybe go somewhere else for your flirting, please?
Yeah, the book. Yeah, where they're talking, it's where she accidentally screws it up, and he's like, oh, so you need to be punished. And the bookseller comes back outside and says, here's your book, get out of my shop, please, you're weird. No, but yeah, they're at this book fair, and whoa, a kid's stolen from a book. Along with, he has another kid who is completely... he's here, I guess, and we find out his mom is sick, and they were told that they steal this book that the noble of the Berenstain Stern.
Berenstain Bear.
Sam Bernstein.
The only thing I can think of when I heard it. But he will treat his mother. To which, for some odd reason, and again, I have slight issues with this show. I give it the benefit of the doubt that they're doing it intentionally, because that's what it seems like at this point. Ellie, why didn't you ask who it was? Just ask what name they gave. Like, ask anything about this noble. I'm sure the kid doesn't actually know. They probably didn't give him anything more than a last name, but, like, you could ask for a description. You could ask for more detail than just going, In fact, she's very not worried about the fact that someone's using her family name for this until, like, it gets brought up the second time, and she's like, we would never steal a book. We would poison ourselves to get a book, though. And everyone's like, that's insane. You're insane. And they laugh. Also, this kid thinks that Christopher's his father, and it's the funniest bit in this episode. It's one of the funnier bits in this episode. Dad? This episode's in a weird place for me. On one hand, I like the awkward tension between Ellie and Christopher. It's nice. It's a nice change of pace from the dynamic they did have. I also get it. She can't fully change her personality to not constantly worrying about things she doesn't understand. The main conceit of this show being that she constantly doesn't know things because she's kept out of the loop or because she's not social enough to have learned about something quick enough is a little grating on me. Like, there's clearly something Christopher did 6 years ago, or his connection to this guy to some degree. He clearly knows something about him. Even if part of this are lies to get, these kids help. It's really weird just to have her have this moment where she's like, maybe this guy who is very close to my age does have a child this old already. Maybe he did fuck a dancer randomly in the middle of nowhere for a traveling circus who only comes like once every 4 years. This definitely checks. And it's a little silly, but I get it. On top of that, I do like the fact that she is requested by the child to play to let Christopher play the other kid's dad. And to some degree, it seems like she kind of backs off. Like, to me, it felt like she doesn't hold his hand, partially out of spite for not knowing what's going on, but also because if Christopher's playing the kid's dad, he wouldn't be holding her hand. So, like, it's a double-edged sword there where, like, I feel like it does that element well, where she gets to kind of play at Christopher and make him question what the fuck's going on. But also then, like, she is maybe a little pettier than she needs to be. At least she feels like a character this episode. So this is progress? I don't hate this show. I was not expecting this episode to not end on a full conclusion. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a mini arc, I guess.
Yeah.
It's neat, I guess. I have to see more.
I mean, the thing is, like, we watched the first 3 episodes, and my immediate thought was, okay, what the fuck do they do now? And I'm glad that they're doing something. So
yeah. They're playing with they have a couple of things that they have, like, lined up. Like, she doesn't remember Christopher. That's weird. Good point, show. That is weird. You have me curious about this. His mother's illness is kind of brushed off, you don't get a lot of it because he's telling a story to a kid. There's so much there to unpack. I do love the context of, let me tell you a story about a kid who's a lot like you, who has a sick mom a lot like you, who after his mom got better was an absolute bitch. And the way the kid looks at him at first, and he's like, but it's okay because the wizard placed an evil spell. And the kid audibly goes, oh. And I'm like, good. You understand what you're doing, show. The show's fine. That's how I wind up feeling about it.
So my thing with the show, I have it above Urusei Yatsura for the pure reason that I found the show funnier. I laughed significantly more because I think the show's dialogue is pretty good. You have some really good bits between these characters. A thing I noticed while I was doing a half rewatch while you were watching it right before this, because when I was watching this episode, I found myself, I thought the dialogue was good. Like, we had some really good dialogue. The show's writing is solid. But I was fucking bored. Like, I did not want to keep watching, even though I enjoyed what I was reading. And my brain was like, I don't know what the fuck this problem is. And I was watching it, I was sitting there just, because it's the thing I could focus on more because I'd already watched the episode and taken in what the actual dialogue meant. This show's direction is fucking garbage.
Yeah. No, it's...
every single shot is just a fucking picture that they either zoom in or pan to somewhere else on, and then cut to another picture. There's no interesting camera angles. It is always just like fucking straight on at someone's face.
I think the most we get is maybe the kids. Like, the introduction of them, that set of shots might be the most engaging. But even then, like...
The entire 10-minute portion where they're sitting at a table talking is literally just, it's on Ellie's face. Then it cuts to just, whatever the fuck the older one's face. And it's both faces. And it cuts back to him. Then it cuts over to Ellie. And then we see all three of them from the side. That's it. Every fucking shot is just like straight shot of them, and sometimes it like starts with their legs and pans up for no reason.
Yeah. Also
God.
the characters look even more Fire Emblem somehow. I don't know what happened with the art, but they look more Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
All I can think of when I see Reen or whatever his name is just young Donald. That's all it is. This is Donald as child. Like even more child.
We've watched 4 episodes of this show now. This episode, Glenn looks the most like Sylvain he's ever looked.
Yeah.
And his dialogue is the most like Sylvain it will ever be. Like it has some Sylvain level of, it has some Sylvain going to Dimitri, you gave the girl a dagger as a gift level energy of dialogue as this show does. It's oh boy. On one hand, I adore this show because of that fact. 2, their dynamic, like Christopher and Ellie's dynamic, is at least interesting, I think. Which
Fine.
it's better than it was. It's progress, and I'm at least like engaged with their back and forth. The world's also like cool. I like it. I like the premise of Big Book Nerd explaining like stories and pulling stuff from the books she knows. Like I think the general premise is tolerable and enjoyable. But yeah, the direction of the show is obvious. Is very obviously not great.
It's funny because this director Madhouse is known for having generally really solid direction for its shows, and this director, it's not like he hasn't done good work on other shows.
Yeah.
Let me see what the big thing was that he did by himself. Like he was that main director for. He was director for like some random episodes for like Hunter x Hunter. He was for like 2 of the random ones.
Yeah.
Don't particularly remember what happened in them. Like I looked it up. I was like, oh, that's an episode that happened. And not Sweetness and Lightning. I think it's the one that we always get fucking mixed up with it.
Barakamon?
No. Okay, maybe it is just Sweetness and Lightning, and I'm stupid. See. He also was the director for Fullmetal Alchemist, Conqueror of Shambhala.
Boy. Conqueror of Shambhala.
That actually explains a lot.
It is Sweetness and Lightning. Okay, I was correct. Okay, he was the director of Sweetness and Lightning. That show's fucking adorable.
Yeah.
To be fair, Conqueror of Shambhala, not a good movie, but it's directed really well.
That's fair.
Like, especially for 2005, it's pretty damn good, honestly.
And in all honesty, speaking about this show, there is also an element of this show that I think is that needs to be apparent on this podcast. It's very much not for us, I feel.
No, this is a Josei show. It's very clearly for a specific thing.
If you didn't know,
in my opinion, this story works infinitely better in the light novel form it was originally produced as.
Yeah.
Because again, this show's writing and dialogue is legitimately really solid. Yeah. Like, it's super fucking witty. These character interactions are great. I love when characters are interacting. But God, is there nothing visually interesting to make me want to keep listening to them talk?
Something to say about Christopher's storytelling to the child and how well it shows that he's telling it for a child. Like, my first time through, I was like, wow, I really don't like how he's delivering this. And then it hit me. I'm like, oh, it's because he's telling it so a child can understand what he's saying. Like, and that makes the whole scene actually flow well, where you're like, oh, okay, his wording sounds dumb sometimes because he has to word it dumb. But yeah, no, like, the only person on this podcast who might, like, be super hard into this is maybe John, I feel like. But even then, like again, I said to Mason, I can guarantee you if this was on Crunchyroll and I told my girlfriend to watch it, she would love it.
Absolutely.
Oh boy, I just there were just enough moments in this episode that made me go, okay, show, we're doing a Josei thing here.
Yeah.
Calm down, Mata. Woo.
We're doing a Josei, and to be fair, those have not had the greatest of luck on our podcast, but this one seems better than the last one we had at the very least.
Which, you know what? It makes a little more sense now, Mason. Why show the kissing? That's not the important part for the people who really want to see this show.
True.
It'd be like how if we're gonna get any changing scenes, they're not gonna be of Ellie.
No, not at all.
The
There's
guy
a reason Ellie's like the only female character we've gotten.
and the
guy's
only
a-
other
every
one, the only
character's
other one
hot
was a
guy.
whore. The only other one was a
Yeah.
horrible, conniving woman.
Yes.
The bit with Island not being recognized is so fucking good.
It's really funny.
He's like, please.
He is a very enjoyable character, and I hope we get more of him.
I
Alan's
like
my
Alan. Alan's great.
And with that, we're at the last show of the time. God damn it, I forgot. How did I forget? You will never.
Oh
be
God,
able to
what
forget.
did you? Yeah, sus.
Let's
Someone
talk
sus.
about Shinobi.
Get out of my head. Get out of my head. Get out of my head.
So,
guys, if you look close enough in her eyes, I think it's there.
So it's funny that you mentioned that because that was like the big thing on Twitter like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. But so Shinobi no Ittoki this week it's about ninja tools and how there's a test coming up where the actual test is not to pass the test, it's to use ninja tools to steal the answers to the test
Okay,
to then
stage
pass
one.
the test.
Okay, stage one of tuning exams. I see you.
Yeah,
True.
literally, that's what it is. Like this show knows it's like just a modern day Naruto knockoff. And
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But like the whole thing is like they get some other guys from their dorm that want to help. And they fuck it up, but they manage to get the test answers, and then they find out that they've been swapped by the Koga clan. Oh no. So everyone failed except for Ninja Tool Girl because it's Ninja Tool Girl. And then
Meanwhile, the rest of the
meanwhile-
episode's engaging.
meanwhile, we have the uncle who's a boss ass motherfucker. He sneaks into the Koga, like one of the Koga like facilities, while he's being tailed by someone else, and he knows that they're tailing him because it's someone from the Ninja Security Council or whatever the fuck it is.
She's a member of the Koga. I think they're a Koga branch of them. Because the idea, because here's the thing, where every time they talk about it, they make it sound like they're looking for signs that the Koga, that like their clan is doing something behind their backs. Because he's like, do you like that? That's one of the big things. Is he, and he's looking into the suicide, which seems like a more Koga focused thing. So I think they're Koga ninjas.
Fair.
But they're just, I think you're right, they are also just part of the Ninja Council, whatever they are. The Ninja Security Council of the executive state.
So he sneaks into this Koga building without getting noticed. And then when he realizes that he's probably going to get caught, he gets the information that he needed, which isn't anything because it's not actually there. And then fucks with the girl who's tailing him. Also makes the receptionist who works in this building life better. And he also helps out Ninja Tool Girl's dad, because that's who they buy their Ninja Tools from. And he's having some problems where if he doesn't do what the Koga asks, his village is probably done for. So,
We also
Tokisada... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we also learned about a secret family item.
Oh yeah, there's also a for the Iga village, there's a secret ninja core that is like uber powerful, and it can honestly.
I wonder what it's gonna do for someone. I wonder if it's gonna make a character not worthless.
Right.
To his credit, he's not that bad this episode. He fucks up once, and it's kind of reasonable. And in all honesty, he like makes do. They also do get a decent gag. I do think that them pulling him up from the window gag is actually good. Like, that's a funny, like, infiltrate bit you would do whether he was competent or not.
Yes.
This episode, I think, is better than...
I didn't
hate episode 3. Like, I think my big thing with this show is that nothing he is doing feels new or different to me. Like, his whole thing of I'm gonna go about this, very warring nation differently. Instead, I think we should be working together. Like, I've seen this trope over and over and over again. And he's not much different from the characters who usually run it.
Yeah.
I think like maybe the most engaging I think like the most engaging thing he has going for him is the whole I don't think I should be chief thing. And that they're kind of building that with the entire community. Like it seems to be like the whole idea of well she wants to be chief but she's not allowed to be. And I do really like the parallel. I think the way they do this episode is super smart. The parallel between him and his uncle, 2 infiltration missions, 2 different sides of the Ninja Tool story. Koga gets swindle in one, Koga swindles the other. Like it's a neat dynamic that works really well. His uncle's a badass, and them doing the bit at the start where the girl who's tracking him is late, and then she comes in. And they're like, "What do you know about him?" And she's like, "Only like really fucked up stories about how cool he is." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, watch this." And then he's a fucking pile of smoke on the camera, and he's just believe every story. It's like, oh damn, he's raw.
Yes, these like urban legends about this dude, we have to run under the assumption that
they're true.
Based in fact.
They also
that busted.
They also really think he's the guy who's killed the last head of the Koga, which, like, I mean, probably a good guess if it wasn't so obvious that it's your own current head of the Koga.
Yes.
Man, who do we think the traitor is, guys? Side character 1, side character 2, love interest 1, love interest 2. What are your bets on?
It's one of them.
Blonde?
It's one of
My
them.
bet's on blonde.
My issue is that I think it'd be too predictable for it to be side character 1 or 2. But I feel like that's exactly what's going to go. Oh, we just introduced them. Ooh. But they're little bitches, so they're probably...
Couldn't they just have, like, placed a ninja tracker on them and found out? I mean, like, you guys weren't that careful about hiding which safe you were going for. You planned out your entire maneuver in the lounge of your dorm.
I would respect that show if it were blonde love interest.
I think it's gonna be her.
Like...
Ninja Tool doesn't make sense. I don't think it'd be smart to make it one of the 2 guys. But maybe it will be. She just makes the most sense because it's not him and it's not Kotetsu or whatever her name is.
Kosetsu.
Kosetsu.
I could see it also being Ninja Tool Girl just because of the fact that like
she gets a good grade on the exam.
Yeah, like she knows she has her own reason to have gotten a good grade, and it would have been really weird if someone else in the group got a good grade.
That's
but like,
fair. But also maybe we're doing a blackmail thing. Maybe it's not a like. To be fair, Ruby comparison. It's not like John was benefiting from helping Cardin. He just was trying not to make his life any worse. Yeah. So, like, it could be that kind of situation. And we don't know enough about the blonde girl and what clan she's from or what she does to really know. And, like, I also do think that her ambush in the forest is a little weird. From episode 3.
Yeah.
She does kind of seem to just get bodied really easily. Maybe a little too easily. Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a long-term play of, like, we'll get you to trust her, and then she's in, and then she can help sabotage you. But, I mean, it's silly, I think, that to have this traitor plot point so soon is so weird, because we don't know enough about these characters, but I guess that's the reason why to do it. Everything with the uncle's so much cooler.
Yeah, the uncle is just a better character.
And in the same way, again, I'll give this show props for the parallel. Safe cracking device that works. Safe cracking device that does not work, and thus he has to rely on the sticky note of the idiot who has a sticky note for his safe code.
Yes.
Also, high random misogyny in the office workplace, thanks, I guess.
Right. Like, I'm glad that guy got fucked with.
Yeah.
The show doesn't give me any real reasons to hate it the way I do. But this show just being the most generic action shonen bullshit trash just pisses me off immensely. I get nothing from this show. The show isn't treading any new ground in any capacity. It's just fucking retelling every other action shonen school story but combining all this most generic bullshit ever and having like some decent character designs, four boring ass characters, with zero personality, and that's not even accounting side character 1 and side character 2. Kosetsu is yet to have a fucking personality. She's a cool design.
I will say
The uncle's cool.
I think the
Yeah.
one thing that the show has going for it is that I saw the preview, a little bit of it next week. It seems like a redhead from the Koga might be getting a little more involved, and he is maybe the coolest character of this set of schoolmates.
He seems like he's actually a cool character.
Yeah.
Not nothing of.
And like I'm interested to see if they do anything. So we'll see. Maybe next week it can pull it around. But I mean, it is fighting at the bottom for a lot of us. All of us, yeah. You have it. Just talk a little bit more, Mason. You have it low too, which was
Like, I don't hate this show. I really don't. I just
would
think
rather
every
watch.
other show except for Akiba Maid War is better.
Which, you know what? I'm not gonna disagree on that point. The real question is, do I vote off Akiba Maid War? Because why wouldn't I vote off Akiba Maid War? I hate you so much, Michael. Yeah, I'm gonna post it. I got sidetracked by Michael drawing Among Us on the stream, and then sending it to me, like a heathen. Why is it? It should not be doing that.
What?
I don't know. I think there was a little hiccup, or maybe YouTube's lying to me. Cool. I can do this then. Wonderful. I don't even. My brain's not even firing on enough cylinders to come up with a clever name. I'm literally just punching my name in because I don't. I don't know what we're doing yet this week. I guess we'll see what the votes look like to see if it matters.
I didn't notice that you did that to Bocchi in that screenshot. I
think that's the best. I think it's the best part is that it's a little hard to see because it's a thin pen.
Yeah, I was like, why are you sending me this? Is there something wrong with the?
Like I looked at it at first, and I was like, oh, why is he sending a screenshot of the stream? And I look at it again, I was like, oh fuck. Oh god, oh fuck. Not gonna lie though, honestly, I miss playing Among Us. The game's fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
It's a solidly built hidden role game. Hidden role games are good.
So here's the good news, guys. It does not matter if John votes. We do not need John's vote to know what's going this week. And with that, I will let you know that once again, here we go. The rundown. Blue Lock, full saves. Gundam, full saves. Yatsura, full saves. Eminence and Shadow, full saves. Do It Yourself, full saves. Reincarnated as a Sword, full saves. Chainsaw Man, full saves. Bocchi the Rock, full saves. Bibliophile, full saves. 1 slay on Shinobi, 3 slays on Akiba Maid War.
Man, I can tell you right now, John was probably going to vote Akiba Maid War as well.
I sure hope he would. So yeah, let's. And I would go to the Akiba Maid War screen cap, but I also. Okay, cool. That means it's this one. It's not gonna match up, but that's fine because. Make me mad.
It's Gundam.
Yeah, it'll get there. Don't worry. But yeah, no, I mean, look, there are gonna be people who really like the show, and it's fine. I mean, it's. I think it's it's insane that this show, at least when, well, no, it does have a comedy. This has a comedy tag, right?
Yeah.
Scott,
I sure hope it does.
I can't look at it because Bibliophile's on my screen, and I can't help that.
Where the
It's
fuck
action comedy, right?
is- Yes, it is an action comedy.
Yeah.
At least done
Well,
well.
I get it if people like it. I just
Much like with Uncle from Another World,
yeah.
your opinion is valid. It's wrong.
It's
but
wrong,
valid.
but you can have it.
I do legitimately think that like in another world I might not be as hard on this, but coming off Licorice for sure I'm gonna kick the shit out of this show because it's just a worse.
Yeah.
Like there's a conceit kind of similar to a degree. Like there's a very small part of the circles that overlap here. But even then, like I don't think it's a great parody. I don't think it's a great comedy. I don't think it has anything really engaging going for it besides it's wacky and you don't know what you're gonna get, except you do because it kind of follows the same
exactly
formula.
You know what you're gonna get most of the time.
And they tell you something you're gonna get by showing you a part of the show earlier in the show, which I really hate.
I did like that that at least for episode 4, it was a semi-early part.
Yeah, it wasn't the end, which was nicer.
It was like 8 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, also that's why she's falling off the building. Understandable.
I thought it would have been the end of the episode. Well, you know, fine. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just you have a cast of characters, and I don't care about any of them. That's impressive.
Yeah, no, this show. I think the show's biggest issue this season, especially, is that we have Eminence and Shadow as another show that's doing a very similar style of thing.
It's insane.
Which is a show that's entire style of comedies, and it's just a fucking nuts to butts stupid ass comedy that's just a crazy parody, a bunch of bullshit, wacky, zany nonsense. And Eminence just does it better.
Oh man, I'm just looking at this GIF and I just can't. There's just no joy in my heart and my soul.
I also just see this and go, PA Works, what the fuck? Much like Madhouse with making Bibliophile this season. What the fuck is this shit, PA Works?
Yeah.
There we go.
Like, I guess you consider it, like, semi-similar to, like, a shitty version of Angel Beats, except Angel Beats, remembered to have a story. A pretty good story.
Angel Beats falls apart at its end. At points of its ending, not its beginning. I like Angel Beats.
Angel Beats has a really fun cast of characters.
Yeah,
I love, like,
I
most
enjoy
of them.
almost all of them. It just has like an arc that feels very forced.
Yes.
And it doesn't really make sense and is the most what the fuck are we doing moment, but then it saves itself because it has an ending that hurts me. No, it's one of those. It's such an odd thing. I don't know what the big. When I watch a show, I want to get something out of it. And I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of Akiba Maid War besides haha funny ? Isn't mashing these two things that normally wouldn't go together so crazy? And again, it's just I've seen even that exact kind of idea done better elsewhere. Even outside of like Licorice to a degree. Like Kantai Collection exists, Girls und Panzer exists. I would even. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Talk about Azure Lane?
Azure Lane might be better than Akiba Maid War in my brain. It might have fired more neurons in my brain than this did. It had
Azure Lane had some enjoyable bits, but God, did Azure Lane also suck?
It is all. Yeah, no. I guess the difference is that this
Azure
show
Lane
doesn't
certainly sexualized multiple very small children.
It's okay, they're ships. No, but precisely.
Technically, yeah.
No, that is the thing that my brain was like, wait, no, that is what would have gotten it off sooner on a podcast. But I think, like, core conceit, I like Azure Lane better. Man.
Azure Lane at least had some fun characters I enjoyed seeing a little bit.
Enterprise, baby, mommy.
Enterprise was cool as shit.
Yeah, she was actually an engaging character to much more of a degree than I thought she was going to be. America.
The one who had, like, the toy unicorn, she was adorable.
Franklin. What was the one that was the American one with the...
Oh, yeah, Franklin, yeah, Cleveland. Cleveland was a fucking favorite.
Cleveland. That show is dumb. But yeah, so we'll say goodbye to Akiba Maid War. Really to nobody's surprise. I just... Oh boy. I'm excited for next week. Good stuff hopefully coming out from everything else. Like honestly, if Shinobi and Bibliophile have really strong weeks, it will probably be difficult for me. Same with like if Urusei Yatsura has a good week for me. Like I don't know. Like I'm kind of at a point where there are a couple of shows that if they have a really bad week next week, or could absolutely jump to being on the docket.
Yeah.
But like, there's also a lot of stuff that I don't think, even if it has a bad week, I will consider getting rid of it because it's so early and they've been so good otherwise. Yeah. Like my top 4 is pretty solid in my brain right now. I really like that top 4. And Blue Lock can always just have a completely full-on killer episode and wiggle its way back up. Once again, the real task is, can you outshine Eminence in Shadow?
Eminence Shadow really is like the mid bar.
I love having the mid bar because I also love seeing how far the mid bar climbs.
Yeah.
As the show goes up, like back arrow, baby. No, I also just, there is no greater moment to me than me looking John in the face and going, "This is your back arrow," and him going, "No, oh no, it is my back arrow." So good, so good. No, but we will thank everybody. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Yeah. We'll see you next week. Maybe a Tuesday. That seems to maybe be the thing we're doing. Boy, if it's not Tuesday, do all of us have to get our shit together to have stuff watched in time? Because we've been slacking on getting that ready with the assumption that we were going to be doing Tuesdays. But we'll see. We have to talk to John.
I could always be ready earlier.
It's just that.
It's just
It's just that.
Like my brain's like by like Sunday, I had all but like 3 or 4 things watched.
John just
so like I could have gotten those done.
When we know he can't do weekends, it's like, well, we're not gonna do it then probably, so we might as well try for a day he can, and that just means I can put it off a little longer.
True.
But also, I like these shows now. Like, I'm real invested in a lot of these. I don't have to slug through
I
my
watched
Master
Chainsaw Man
after
watched Chainsaw Man the night, like, right after we finished the last podcast.
I watched Eminence in Shadow the next day. I don't know why. I really wanted to see it.
I know. I watched Chainsaw Man, then watched Blue Lock like the next day, and then just kind of slowly trickled everything else in. The Blue Lock was like the first thing that showed up when I just went into Crunchyroll. I was like, cool. I guess I'll watch that one.
Fair.
I'm trying to get something. Then I had it. Here we go. On the way out. Oh, why is it not? Yeah, there we go. On the way out, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.